Hello, good morning, everyone. How are you doing today? This is Adriel tuned in live on italki.com/I stay at home. Today is going to be a rather relaxing lesson. We had a lot of lessons involving business in the past week, as well as last week. So, going to look at some very interesting things with the English language starting next week for our brand new session of live stream classes, talking about grammar and situations. But I wanted to just use this opportunity again, this week, to present lessons and courses for English learners that you might have missed. You might have started tuning into the live streams maybe, I don't know, last week or this week. So first thing going off is I'd like to know who is here at lunchtime, tuned in to this live stream. I'm talking to you, the viewers on YouTube, and also talking to you, the viewers on italki.com/I stay at home. So, all right, Carol, good to see you again from Venice. I've got Emma from France. Okay, that's good. Who else is here? Okay. Looks like someone is asking if the lesson has started. Well, yes, the lesson has started. The lesson is happening now. This is not a recording. This is a live stream right now. So if you are in, welcome to the lesson. I have Francesco from Italy. Okay. Well, you can say where from. Italy and France, of course, are very big countries, even though they're tiny compared to other countries. You could tell me where you are, how your situation is, where you live. Let's see. Again, we have just a few people, but it's going to be a relatively, I think, small class today. But if you're on YouTube, just as a reminder for those who are tuning in, remember to be logged in. And remember also that you need to click top chat on the right-hand side of the chat box. Okay, so make sure you press top chat so that you can comment. This is an interactive class, which means that in my classes, the student speaks more than the teacher. This is what we call student-teacher talking time. So in this class, I will be speaking more, but I will be asking you constantly for your answers to questions I might have. So I see that Francesco is here from Bologna. Well, you're in for a surprise, right? Or in for luck, as we say in English, because today the class is going to be about cooking and eating out. So it's going to be a very simple sort of topic. So I'm going to see. So again, eating out and cooking at home is our topic today. I'm going to wait for that to show up. And again, this is a topic that a lot of people like to talk about. In some of my classes, I talk to people about small talk, which is everyday conversation. And typically, one of the most popular small talk topics with people are topics about eating and cooking at home. Right, so these are popular. It's probably the best small talk conversation because to me, unless you find someone very strange that doesn't really like food at all, you probably are going to have a good conversation with someone about eating out and cooking. So, let's see. So I have some people came in. I've got Marina. I've got Barbara. If you can't see the lesson, make sure your video is playing because we are live right now, or you can refresh the page. I've got, let's see. I've got, yeah, okay, so Sylvia's from Italy. You can say where you're from in Italy. We have one person from Bologna, from Bologna. And that's, again, we could call it one of the capitals of gastronomy in Europe. I live in Lyon, which is considered to also be a capital of gastronomy. So let's begin. So I apologize in advance for the vegetarians and vegans. Again, I mostly eat vegetarian at home, but I do like good seafood and I do like good meat. But my diet, I would say, is 80% vegetarian. Was just something I put in because at the time we were focusing especially on Spanish audiences, and this reminded me a lot of some of my favorite tapas in Spain. So let's look at this first conversational quote here. Again, conversation is the enemy of good wine and food. Do you agree with this quote? Please let me know in the comments. Do you agree with this quote? What does this mean? Conversation is the enemy of good wine and food. All right. So I've got a few people here. Emma is from Tours and Blois, and you are vegetarian. Okay, I'm mostly vegetarian, so sorry. I've got Sarah. Let's see. Okay, from France. All right, you can say. And let's see. Okay, good. So Emma gets it. Yes, while speaking, you don't eat or drink, right? You don't eat or drink. Yeah. So you can say you don't eat nor drink, but it's when we use it's a complicated rule in English. So you could say you don't eat or drink, right? The Here in this case, right, we're talking about okay. So Carol says politics. Yeah, if you talk about politics, that's one thing that will make you maybe not not maybe enjoy the conversation, so you decide to just eat and drink and not talk. That could be one thing. What Hitchcock is saying here really is that, again, if you have really good food and wine, you're speechless. You're speechless, right? You can't speak. It's so good. It's true. I mean, I think this has happened to everyone. You've had maybe something very good, a very good wine, a very good beer, a very good cocktail, or you had something to eat. It was so good you couldn't talk, right? You could only make noises. But I do agree. Every time I show this to a lot of people, again, they say people disagree with this quote, and to be honest with you, it's a mixed quote, right? Because I do think that good conversation is part of good wine and good food. That there isn't a reason not to eat. Maybe Hitchcock is being a little bit cynical here. Maybe he's had some really bad conversations, so he went to good places to eat to avoid talking, right? so so again, this is good. These are some good quotes. Eliza says nothing better than talking and tapas with friends. Carol says generally I like speaking during lunch and dinner. It helps my digestion. Yeah, I would say that most of us enjoy that. So let's continue here with this part. So again, is eating with others very important for you? I mean, we live in the modern world now, so more people are eating alone. And there is this question if eating with others is something that's maybe the basis of eating well, right? Do you prefer to eat alone? And how often do you cook? And how often do you eat out for business or for pleasure? Now, keep in mind, this is before COVID-19, okay? This is before the world before when everything was open and we could go out and not have any problems. So did you often eat out for business or for pleasure? Um, did you prefer to cook at home, invite people over? Are you someone that actually prefers eating alone? I mean, in the United States, a lot of people are eating at their desks. This is happening too in the UK. A lot of countries that people start to work more. They start to actually eat more at their desk. So it's a very strange thing. So let's see here. So Robert says you can combine both and enjoy them at the same time. Yeah. Okay. So you're talking about conversation and good wine and food. Yeah, that's good. Carol says I hate eating alone. I can't eat alone. Okay. So how are you doing with the confinement right now? Are you living with someone? Are you calling people while you eat? Let's see here. Helado says sometimes a good wine helps it helps make an interesting conversation. Yeah, I would say that someone who worked in the wine industry before, that's 100% true. Let's see. Carol says, I prefer eating than cooking because I have two great cooks at home, my mom and my sister. Okay. Yeah, great. Cool. So that's good. Let's see. We've got Emma says, I'm a very bad cook. That's what's okay. I mean, the confinement's a good way to maybe, see if you can try a new recipe or try to cook something new. Yeah. At work, I prefer to eat at the desk alone. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's happening more and more in the modern world. Barbara says, I hate eating alone. I love eating, remember to use the gerund, right, with my husband every day. But specifically, I love it when all of my family eats together. Okay, I miss it now during the lockdown. Yeah, exactly. So it's a normal thing, right? So Marina says, I like to be alone and eating alone too. I think I cook every day. I prepare a lot of things in advance. I cook things from many different countries. Today, I did some traditional Thai recipes for lunch. And one thing that I like about the extra time we might have with the confinement is that you have extra time to try something new, right? So when I'm by myself cooking, it's actually really nice because I'm with the moment. You know, I have to think, I have to hear, I have to see, I have to smell, right? I have to really use all my senses. I think that language learning is a similar thing in using your senses. So just like any skill, it takes more than just the obvious sense, right? We would think, okay, cooking only takes seeing, maybe smelling. It takes tasting. It also takes hearing. It takes also touching, right? And that's the important thing is now that we have extra time, you also see that a lot of people are making bread, baked goods at home. And a lot of this has to do probably with the fact that people have more time now to stop and do something that takes a long time to do, you know, letting the bread rise, right? Letting the dough rise, making the bread. This is something that a lot of people are doing now. So it's is so it depends, you know, maybe again this is an opportunity for us to try to do something new, you know. So let's see, just continuing, again, eating out. All right, so what do you think, why do you think that business lunches are so popular? And again, if you look at this here, 18% of Europeans ate their meals out in 2017. So keep in mind, ate out, right? Eat out is a phrasal verb, right? So we use ate what out, right? You can say ate out, like I eat out every day, but you can say I eat at, you know, I eat most of my meals out every day. You know, you could say something like that, so you can separate the phrasal verb. Let's see. I've got a few questions here. So Carol says, where do you take your recipes? Books, internet? Yeah, books and internet. Yeah, and I follow a lot of really specific bloggers and famous sort of cooks. So you know, two I recommend for sure is you know, Yoram Ottolenghi is incredible on the Guardian. And if you like traditional Italian food from Rome, then Rachel Roddy does good. But there's also Massimo Bottura. And of course, there's incredible cooks from all over the world, from South America, Africa, and Asia that I'm just starting to learn about. So let's see. It looks like we're having, well, someone in the feed is having technical problems. So hopefully you're able to access the document. But maybe italki could help you as well. They could see, because there's if you're not able to access it, it might be your internet. So let's see. We've got a few people saying gardening is a good way to focus on senses. Yeah, I definitely think gardening is a good way to focus on senses. And just a question for all of you here: why are business lunches so popular? What's the reason that they're so popular? Can you explain to me why people do a lot of, well, did, right, before the crisis? Why business lunches were popular? Can you give me a kind of an answer here in the comments? Again, this was a very high amount of Europeans ate their meals out. And that's, you know, 335.9 billion euros total in food sales, right? And again, how often do you eat out and why? This is before the COVID-19 crisis, of course. Can you tell me? All right. So Carol says, because restaurants are informal places where you can discuss serious topics, but you can also relax with easy conversation. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I think it's a very good setting to do business, right? Yeah, Marina says it's a pleasure to eat and discuss business. Yeah. All right. So, and let's see. Emma says it's a great way to know colleagues. Okay, that's good. Yeah. These are good reasons. Again, they're popular because, well, they were popular. Maybe they'll be popular again someday because of these reasons, right? There's some kind of association we make with business and eating out and eating together. Yeah, being in company with people is something that people like. Yeah, I would say that's a very good thing. It's much better to, I always did business lunches and business dinners because I knew it was a positive thing for the workplace. So it's something I never say no to, and neither should you, unless of course you have your reasons, which is okay. Again, let's look at some functional language here. So when do you usually eat out, and what kinds of restaurants and bars do you like? Imagine that I'm visiting your city or town. What kind of place would you recommend me to eat at or have a drink at? And more importantly, do you always eat at the same place? Now, these are lots of questions, so you can sort of, answer them as any way you want. You don't have to answer all of the questions, but I do want to know some of your suggestions for me. Imagine I'm visiting your city. I'm lost. I'm a tourist that's lost, and you know a really good place. Where can you take me? So Miguel says it is cheaper. Okay, twice a week. Okay. And Robert says, I usually eat out once a week, most times with my wife or friends. Okay, yeah, that's normal, I think. Okay, I'm waiting just for people in the comments on I stay at home. So let's see. So a gastro restaurant, okay. So like a gastronomical restaurant, maybe. And what can you recommend me? Remember, we better just say, you can say a gastropub that exists, but you can say a gastronomical restaurant. That's the word we use. Yeah. And I know that, I'm a French speaker like you, Emma. So saying gastro is, it's definitely means a different thing when we say it, right? So gastronomical, yeah, is a good one. So, let's see, what have I got? No comments on YouTube yet, but I do have, let's see. Marina says, I eat out if my working schedule is too busy and I have no chance to get home. Yeah, right. So that's one thing. A lot of people say, I have a very busy schedule and it's very difficult for me to cook at home. So I eat out. I would say it's similar for me, but I will tell you, I started to I started to find a way to prepare more food the night before and take it in the day after. It just depended if I had access to a microwave or something. If I didn't have access to something to reheat the food, there's no way I could have brought my own food. So I see here, Robert says, I like international food restaurants. I'd recommend you a Peruvian restaurant in Valencia. Good. Carol says, I ate out once at least because I wanted to see my friends or celebrate some events like a baptism. I like to go to pizzerias because they are cheaper. Yeah, that's true. And does anyone else have any comments, places you want to recommend to me on live chat on italki.com? Can you give me some suggestions? Do you always eat at the same place? Did you always eat at the same place? That's really a more important question. So yeah, can you? Let's see. All right, so we have another one, a gastro restaurant. Now, I would again better. Let's see. So if you say gastro restaurant, right? Yeah, you could say that, right? It's not a problem. Although I would prefer the word gastronomic. Gastronomic again. That's sort of just my opinion there. So the let's see here. Depends on what you want to buy. What atmosphere? Yeah. Okay. Well, that can be one reason. So depends how open you are too, right? Sometimes we Some of us prefer more traditional local food, and some of us are more open to trying new things. So kind of depends. When I eat out, I usually try things that I can't make myself, or they take too much time to make, right? So that can be anything, right? That can be fast food. It can be fine dining. It depends on what's going on. I have one person. I have Francesco from Bologna saying we have a lot of good restaurants in Bologna and in the countryside, so it's impossible to try all of them in a lifetime. Yeah, well, that's a good reason to live in Bologna, right? You spend your entire life eating at new places. That would be the same reason that I live in Lyon. Lyon is an amazing gastronomical city. I do think I've even been to other cities that are even more impressive, but Lyon it's pretty consistent, and it's very good for traditional and for creative cooking. Let's see, I have one more from Carol saying there are pubs where you can eat as much as you want for free, and you just have to order a drink like a spritz. I'd recommend you a Venetian restaurant, very typical food. Yeah, you can let me know. I went to Venice last year in February, and I ate at some amazing places. Had amazing cicchetti, right? The Venetian tapas, we like to joke, and amazing. I think it's probably the best spritz maybe I've ever had, but we'll see if the person from Bologna agrees with me. I don't want to enrage the Italians here watching. I think wherever I go in Italy, I always find good spritz. It's really the drink people love to have all over Italy. Everywhere I've been, I've had great spritz. Turin, Florence, Rome, I've had great spritz. Yeah, and Marina says, I would go eat something in the national, traditional, local food. And Emma says, yeah, the bouchon. Yeah, the famous bouchon, right? Yeah. So again, yeah, the bouchons are the famous traditional places in Lyon where you eat lots of, carnivorous food. So since you're a vegetarian, Emma, probably not your top pick, right? But there are some pretty amazing vegetarian restaurants in Lyon as well, and amazing vegetable markets. And that's where I usually buy my vegetables. Miguel says, when I eat out, I usually go to a local restaurant. If you visit Lisbon, I could say you could say recommend me many fantastic places. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can go have a ginja, right, or a nice beer, some sagres or some craft beer. Yeah, yeah, I do love Lisbon. So let's move on here. Let's keep going. So again, when we eating out, typically we have to make good use of adjectives and adverbs to describe the places we like. So some of you decided to go by the exercise and tell me some places you like. But here's the thing. When we talk about these places, we have to use the types of adverbs that give descriptions, right? When we say there's a, I know about a, have you heard about the, and then really nice, fantastic new, great, cool, fantastically hip place. We use this word in English. It's a nice place. It's a good place, right? A place is a word that is often, I think, mixed up with many students I teach, especially I'm a Portuguese and French speaker, and I'm learning Italian. So sometimes the thing about place, it gets a little bit mixed up. And you can use place or spot for any location, really, any location. Or you could just say bar or restaurant. You can define what it is. And you could say then, right, just, which, where. You kind of give it sort of information. You could say, for example, there in Lyon, there's a great cool bar just around the corner. Or have you heard about the fantastically hip restaurant with fusion cuisine, right? So again, you complete this information. So let's do it one more time. So using the vocabulary above, can you give me recommendations one more time about places you like using this kind of vocabulary? Looks like Francesco does agree that Spritz is better than Venice. I really do think it's incredible. I don't know why it's so good. Carol says, come to Antica Trattoria Maretolo in Vigonza, my town. Okay, 7 kilometers far from Padua. Risotto, tortellini, boiled meat, and all typical Venetian food. It's great and cool. It sounds great. So Carol, using this vocabulary that you gave me, this beautiful vocabulary, can you make a phrase using this phrase? You know, you can say come to, but you could say also there's a, or I know about a, right? Let's see. We have a few people commenting here. I have Barbara saying, I live in Castilla y León and in Galicia. Depends on the date. I love the food of both places, but specifically in Galicia, I would recommend you every restaurant. Here, I love almost all of them. Now, you're going to be surprised, but I actually lived in Galicia for 1 month. I lived in Santiago, and I agree with you. It's one of the, how do we say, hidden gems. We say that in English, hidden gems of gastronomy in Europe. I could not believe how good everything was there. So yeah, I agree with you. You could recommend any place in Galicia. And I have Inma saying, I'm from Valencia, where you can eat the best paella in the world. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Marina recommends the Chocolate House of Luxembourg. Okay. Yeah. All right. I'll put that on my list. Let's see. Sylvia says Nessie is a restaurant of hamburger. Is brown, place hot. Okay. So you're saying that okay, so it's a restaurant, it's a hamburger place, you can call it. Hamburger place. Okay. All right. In your city. All right. So hello, thank you for tuning in, Sarah. I'm glad to see we have some very young viewers tuning in today, so that's very good. Let's see. Marina says it's directly opposite the Grand Ducal, okay, Palace. Emma says, I lived in Almaty in Kazakhstan, and I used to go to a Georgian restaurant, a very nice and cozy place. Okay, good, yeah. All right, so Robert's following the vocabulary here. I know a fantastically hip local restaurant in my town that's really nice. Maybe you have heard about this fantastic new spot. Good. Now that's good. That's a good use of building the phrases, using the adjectives. And honestly, if you use this language in this way, you're selling the place. You're making me feel like I am there, right? That's the important thing. The idea of just like any language, the adjectives and the adverbs should really illustrate the location and the description of a place, right? So this is something to really look at and practice. So let's see. What do we have here? Elisa says there's an Asian restaurant. You could say an excellent Asian restaurant. Remember, we're going to put the adjective in front. In Madrid, have you heard about the menu? Place and food. The place and food is fantastic, right? Or yeah. So have you heard about Rizzi Bizzi? It is a cool risotto place, right? Place. Let's use that, right? With rice and peas. And a great spot is also Al Langhetto in the Uganean Hills. Okay, yeah. So no, I do not know. So you're learning there. Let's see. What else do we have? Veronica says, I live in Slovakia. Okay, good. Good to see a Slovakian viewer here today. And I worked as a waitress. They had food like foie gras, goat cheese, tartare, octopus. Restaurant was called Elite Restaurant. Very delicious food, full of French food. Yeah, so you see how French food is everywhere. Now you can get great French food in China and Japan and India. You can get great French food anywhere. People are very inspired by it all over the world. Okay, so yeah, we have a few new viewers that came in. I've got Shun and Vletzania. I think I remember talking to you some classes ago. And you say you're vegan because you want to become a model. Okay, well, yeah, I guess that's a good strategy. All right, these are good. So these are good descriptions about again eating out. So let's go forward because we have a half hour to go. And it says, when we travel or greet visitors in our countries, we always experience cultural clashes. Now, what is a cultural clash? Can you explain this word for me, a cultural clash, this term? Again, this is true when we eat with others. So what are some cultural traditions at the table? So that means your cultural traditions, right? What are some things you mustn't do when eating at the table? Can you give me a few interesting sort of traditions, right? Again, what are things that you can do that maybe other people might find surprising or interesting? And what are some things that you're not allowed to do, you mustn't do at the table? We're talking about taboos, right? So cultural clashes, right? So Miguel's saying, have you heard about the pastéis de nata? There's a fantastic place close to Lisbon called Pastéis de Belém. The main problem is that it's full every day. Yeah, it's crazy. I remember when I went to Lisbon years ago, there was nobody there, and now it's just insane. So I had a better experience at the Mantegueira in Lisbon. So, but there's good pastéis de nata everywhere. It's great food. We have let's see. French food. So okay. Yeah, it's a city for fashion, and you don't like any French food. Well, French food, a lot of it's pretty traditional. It's just meat and potatoes, or potatoes and cheese. So it's not necessary. I mean, French food can be. Let's say that a lot of traditions in Europe, there's very old traditions, but I think, for example, we talk about a type of meat called offal meat, right? It's the meat which is the organs of the animal. But the thing is that in my experience now, especially when you go to Paris, people are very interested in a lot of fusion food. This is the same thing also in big cities. London has incredible food now in so many places. I was shocked, but really not that shocked because it's such a diverse city. I think some of the best food I've ever had was in London recently. You go to New York, you go to Los Angeles, it's a mixed place, right? You get a lot of fusion food, right? Fusion, combining it. So it's a question of what you're looking for, right? What you're looking for to have. And let's see. Just kind of going to the questions. Can you tell me about cultural traditions at the table? So I have one person. You cannot eat breakfast late. Okay. Nurses do not want that we eat late. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Sylvia says the best food for me is in Italy. Okay, yeah, Italy has great food, of course. Well, but everywhere I've had good food. Again, depends what you're looking for, right? But another thing that's interesting is also the manners, right? We talk about manners at the table. So can you? Yeah, okay. So we have one person saying that, for example, in France, people stay a long while at the table. Yeah, sometimes it happens. Yeah, that you get those 3-hour lunches or there's 4-hour dinners, but I think that's changing for big city people. In the big cities, sometimes you might get a lunch that's an hour and a half, but people are working a lot more, so those long lunches, right, they're changing. For the Spanish viewers, I kind of want to know too. I've heard that the siesta is something that's changing too in Spain. That's also another tradition of taking a break in the middle of the day. Is that something that's changing? What are some cultural traditions that are changing in your country, or some that are still happening? Let's see. So Emma says, if you go to Porto, try Cultura dos Sabores, a fantastic vegetarian place. Okay. All right. So Barbara says you mustn't eat before the host. Okay, that's good. You do not have the right to put your arms on the table. You have to put many knives and plates. Okay, these are interesting things. Yeah. Robert says some American friends came home and they were amazed because we ate a piece of fruit after each meal. I don't know if that's different in other countries. For us, it's usual. Yeah, well, to be honest, in the United States, it depends. I mean, a lot of people, they sometimes eat fruit with their meal, sometimes for brunch or even like a late lunch. Um, a lot of people don't eat fruit after the meal. They usually eat this when they take a snack break or they take a break. But now that I live in France, I always have fruit after a meal. And honestly, I much prefer having that. As much as I have a sweet tooth, we say, I like sweet stuff too. I do prefer having fruit after a meal. I think it's better for you. It's also if you buy fruit in season, it's pretty delicious. Let's see. I've got okay. Let's see. Both arms. Okay. Some people are commenting. Yeah, Carol's asking about tiramisu. Yeah, okay. Could prepare it with mascarpone and coffee. I don't have breakfast, only a coffee. Okay, yeah. Some people only have coffee for breakfast. Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing that's different. The breakfasts in breakfast in the United States can be very big. We eat very big portions, and in Europe, well, at least here in France, people tend to eat much lighter breakfasts that are very carb heavy and sweet with coffee and sometimes a yogurt. So it's very simple, but it's it's one thing that's different from the United States. Let's see. Yeah, okay, we've got some comments here. So again, just to answer, one more thing. Did you have any experiences eating out in other countries? Any experiences that were maybe, that they were interesting or that were strange? You can share them in the comments. So let me know if you have something you'd like to say. So let's talk a little bit about cooking at home, because that's the other thing that we're going to look at for functional vocabulary. In many countries, especially countries considered to be advanced economies, people are spending less on food, right? So this is something that's happening now. For example, in the United States, people spend only about 11% of their budget on food. In South Korea, people used to spend 1/3 of their budget on food in 1975. Now, only 13% is spent. So which country spends the most on food today? And we're talking about a budget, right? We're talking about everything that someone makes, it's the percentage of their budget, what they pay money for. So it could be surprising. You would think, okay, in countries where people make more money on average, they must buy more food. Well, actually, they buy more extra things. And in countries where people are making less money, the priority is to work to eat, right? So this is a big thing. So in poorer countries or countries that are developing their economies, you're more likely to see people that are spending money more money on food. So I've got Jerusa Araújo from Brazil. Okay, good to see you. And Carol says, I have a light lunch and a long dinner, and this has changed from the past. After a meal, I like to have something sweet. You get something sweet, and never have a cappuccino like I saw in Germany. Well, yeah, or the United States. Inma says the siesta is the best. You can recover fatigue after work, but you only need 30 minutes. Yeah, I would say a siesta is a good idea, but it's interesting if your economy is built around the idea of something like the siesta, which historically it has been in many parts of Spain, and many parts in Europe too, and other parts of the world. I think there's this idea of taking a break and then starting to work again later in the day. Let's see. What do I have? Yeah, so Sean says, I don't understand the menu at all. That's definitely something that can be very complicated. And let's see. So Spanish people spend a lot of money on food. Russia spends 50% on food. Okay. Barbara says, I've gone to a Pakistan wedding. It was very different from my culture. Food is spicy. I liked it. There are some differences. For example, it was the first wedding where I didn't see a drop of alcohol. Yeah, well, that would be very different. But at the same time, probably easier to stay awake and party all night. So does anyone have an idea who spends the most money on food today? Can you answer this question for me? Which country is it without looking online? Can you tell me? Asian countries. Okay. So the answer actually, I don't know if you got it. Okay. So someone might have looked it up, but the answer is Nigeria. Yes. Nigeria spends 56.6% of their budget on food, right? Cameroon, 45.6, Pakistan at 41, Ukraine at 37.7. And this is from 2014. It's possible the data has changed a little bit, but I do think that it's pretty similar from what I looked at last. And Russia is about 30, actually. So it doesn't even reach 30, but it's still pretty high compared to, well, countries down here, right? Italy, 14.2, France, 13.6, United States, 6.5. It's been up a little bit more at 11 now, but yeah, it's again not very surprising, because when we think about, again, the cost of food and the amount people earn and the priorities of people, we see that those factors really determine whether people are more likely to cook at home and buy whole food. So again, how often do you cook at home, and what do you usually cook? Would you like to cook more? And again, why are growing economies spending less on food? Well, again, many of these factors, right? So is cooking better for you than eating out all the time? How often should we eat out? And you can share your favorite recipe in the comments. So whatever you're interested in talking about, we can talk about it in the comments together. Let's see. All right, so a few comments here. So Robert says, during quarantine, I'm spending all my budget on food and drink. Yeah, me too. That's it, right? There's nothing else to do. Carol says, I think Italians spend a lot on food, but I went to the Philippines. I was so surprised how much they eat. Every moment was perfect to eat, and maybe they are spending a lot. Well, yeah, I think maybe just a budget, right? Yeah. So Jerusa says one time per week, or one time a week, you can say. In the let's see, in the list here. Okay, we're getting a lot of comments coming in, so I'm going to try to catch up with all of you. Again, let's see what's going on. So again, because of COVID, I'm not in the Philippines right now. Okay, all right. But interesting, I heard, was Philippines have well, the worst food. Well, I would not say that. It looks pretty good to me. So, but everything looks good to me. So you can't ask me my opinion. Everything looks good to me. Let's see. Let's see. Continuing again. The USA. Okay, cream of a. Okay. All right. So looks like people are having a debate in the comments. Again, this is we're not trying to really debate in the comments. We're trying to share different comments and help each other with our English. So one thing that let's see if I can look at some of these comments here. Again, it says that well, okay. So here's what it is. So it looks like people spend more money on food, but again, this is just based on the data that was collected, right? This isn't a competition. I think that one thing that we see is when countries start to become more developed, for some reason the budget decreases for food, and I'm not quite sure what this might be. It might be the price. It might be maybe because people eat out more. It might be because people are spending more money on other things and less money on food. But I do think that, in my budget, most of my money is always spent on food, because that's to me the most important thing is that I eat well. So, if you look at this again, Barbara says, I think that the cause is that in poor countries, people spend most of their salaries on food because they don't have money for other things. Yeah, so again, going back to that, yeah, it's a good one. And yeah, Marina says, in the quarantine, I am cooking every day, 2 times per day. Okay. And Sean says the Philippines food is spicy. Yeah, it can be very spicy. Yeah. Marina says, I like to cook with a Polish, yeah, well, you bake. Remember, with pastries, cakes, we bake Polish poppy seeds rolls, right? And Emma says food should be our first medicine. Yeah, well, that's good. That's well said. Yeah, good. So that's so, and yeah, and again, I think that again, depending how we cook, we do have a certain diet. We might have allergies, right? We might have an intolerance, like a gluten intolerance. We might be someone that doesn't eat. We don't eat meat or fish or dairy products because of for our health or for our religion or for our could also be for political reasons. Food is a very political thing. That's why I enjoy talking about it with people, because you see so many things that go on when you talk about food and cuisine. And I think that what we have to look at is, you know, how are we approaching food? Is it something that we look at for pleasure? Is it something that we look at for, as a personal skill that we want to improve? Is it something that we do for a political reason? Again, I think food can be a big extension of someone's personality, their past, their history. If you go in, for example, what I love about so in my situation, for example, I grew up in a mixed culture. I grew up in Brazil and I grew up in the United States, and I was exposed to very different things in both cultures. I grew up in the Bay Area in California, and everything is mixed there. You have the Mexican culture, you have the Southeast Asian culture, you have the Indian culture, the Arabic culture, African culture, South American. You get the people that really like the Italian and French classics, and everything gets mixed. So I've been used to this growing up my whole life, and I know that, again, it can be a very political thing for many people. It can be very personal, right? You see people debating, oh, we make the best paella, we make the best sausage, we make the best cheese, we have the best. And it's important, right? Because, again, it shows a lot about your background based on how you respond to these ideas. So let's see. Just looking at a few comments here. Roberto says, "I've just finished preparing my dough for bread and pizza." Excellent. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that next week. And Carol says, "I usually cook pasta with tomato sauce." Okay. And basil, and oregano. Yeah, remember, Oregon is the name of a state in the United States. It's easy to prepare it, but it tastes great. Robert says, "Today I'm going to cook red lentil soup, scrumptious dish." Yeah, that's good. Red lentils are very good. I also discovered the joys of split peas. So they're simple, but they're quite good. Let's see. Other comments coming in. None for now, but yeah, good. So yeah, these are nice comments. So going with functional language, again, you teach. When I teach cooking vocabulary, it's a great way to improve your English. There are lots of words to help improve your pronunciation as well as your expression. And it helps you practice the passive voice, right? When we describe a process, right? So I'll give you an example. The cake is baked in the oven for 45 minutes. Now, the passive voice is something that we all learn when we're learning English, but it's used because, again, the cake cannot bake, right? We bake the cake. She bakes the cake, right? I bake the cake, but the cake is baked, right? We use the verb to be with the past participle form, again, to describe the passive voice. The peppers are stuffed and then fried. We don't have to necessarily use the verb to be as the auxiliary verb for the past participle, but these are things that you can kind of say when you're describing how maybe your favorite recipe is made. And again, you can practice phonetics this way. So I'm going to just sort of see if you're with me right now, and we're going to practice a little bit of phonetics. So if you're listening, see if you can listen to these phonetics and repeat after me. So let's start with the first one, the first phonetic. Bake. Bake. You see that? A. You see that sound? It's making it. You have to think about that. Bake, right? It's when you cook in an oven using heat. Again, this is something that, again, is used a lot. It's mixed up a lot. People say, I cooked a cake. You make a cake or you bake a cake, but you can't cook a cake. Again, if you cook a cake, it sounds like a bad thing. It sounds like you destroyed the cake. You did something bad to it. So that's one there. Here's the next one. Beat. E. You see how E, it comes out like that. Beat. Eat. E. Beat. Right? So this is when you stir eggs, cream, butter, right, together, for example, quickly and continually, right? So again, this is something we use. You might remember, so you see this movement when you're making it. Blend. End. right? You see how it kind of goes down a bit? Again, let's say it one more time, right after me. Blend, end, right? Blend. To kind of make that sound, that sort of it's sort of a vowel that it bends a little bit. It goes down a little bit. And blending is when you mix two substances together. So if you're making a drink or if you're making some kind of recipe that you have to typically add a paste or a sauce or something, this is what we would say. This is a good sound. This is one I really like. Boil, oil, oh. You see how it here, if you say it, you should feel something right here when you're saying this word. Boil, boil. And you can say it less exaggerated way. Boil, boil. Right? You should feel it a little bit here. So anyone who speaks a language that uses these sounds, this is a good time to practice it. So boiling, right, is heating water or another liquid until you see bubbles, right? So remember to boil. If you simmer is when you have it steam a little bit, just lightly boil. So again, keep in mind there are very different. Boil is a far more aggressive, violent chemical reaction. So that's one to think about. Cut, right? You see how it goes up, cut, right? Cut. You can say it in a less exaggerated way. Cut, cut. Yeah. So again, when you separate or divide a solid using a knife, so you cut it, you cut with a knife, right? That should be pretty, that's one you probably know. Grill, ill. So it's so this is a sound that we often mix up, right, with the E and when we have the difference of sheep and ship, right? For example, it's the same sound here, grill, right? When you put the food on a grill, so this is similar to a barbecue. You can grill vegetables, you can grill tofu, meat, whatever you like. And last one, roast, O, right? Now, the letter is O, but it makes a roast, O. It's a strange kind of sound, right? It's almost as if, because if you didn't have that A sound, it would be rust. So the roast adds that roundness to it. So again, roast. You should feel it coming up, going down. So when you roast, it's probably one of the most popular things you see in pretty much any country after grilling or barbecue. You see, again, putting things in an oven, right? You can cook things in an oven. Keep in mind, you can roast things in an oven. You can't cook a cake in the oven. You can bake a cake. Let's just keep, again, baking has a lot to do with working with something you bake. So that would be something that has a flour as a basis that rises, right? So a bread or a pizza. And let's see, we've got a few people. Yeah, Emma's talking about the Sunday roast. That's good. And Sunday roast is one of the great pleasures of traditional European cooking. I think, I don't know if every country has a Sunday roast, but every country has a roast. Roast is, it's a beautiful thing. You know, it's peasant food, we call it, right? You get something that is very cheap, and you cook it for many, many hours in the oven, and that is it. That is all you do. You season it, salt, pepper, for example, spices. You add herbs, aromatics, and that's it. It's a magical little thing that we've been doing for thousands of years and will continue to do for thousands more. Let's see. So I have a few comments here. Emma says buying food can be like voting. It's true. Yeah, you have political opinions. Emma says I am not a violent person, so I never beat eggs. Good. All right, we've got some good ones here, and yeah, these are good. These are good sort of participation. Yeah, you bake cookies, right? You don't cook cookies, right? I know it says cook in it, but no, you don't cook a cookie. It's yeah, it is funny though. You're right. It's something that we don't think about, but yeah, baked cookies, baked goods, we call it, right? Um, and I've got a few people. Inma says I usually cook at the weekend, but now every day I'm cooking a lot. Yeah. Carol asks what my favorite French cheese is. Well, that's a very hard question to ask because that's like asking, my favorite, cousin or my favorite, child or something. I would say that the cheeses I buy a lot, I guess one that I've been buying a lot lately have been sheep's cheese from Corsica. Those have been incredible. Castello, for example, and Castellabaccio is pretty amazing. And for the ones that are less esoteric, I really am a big fan of Conte, of course. Conte is a classic. And I really like the cheeses from, really good goat cheese from France, yeah. And really good cheese from Savoie, I would say, yeah, Abondance and some of the, but they're more Morbier. But there's so many good cheeses, it's hard to choose, right? um, let's see. So you can share more comments, but we're just almost out of time. So I'm going to wrap it up, conclude here for you. So again, learning good vocabulary for cooking and eating out will make you not only a better host, but a better English speaker. Yeah. So something I always say at the end of this class, this session, which I've done a few times before, and it's always been very popular with people. I say that one of the great ways to practice your English abilities is to practice new vocabulary, new cooking vocabulary, new phonetics. Because what happens is, imagine you go into your kitchen right now and you say, "That is a what is that?" You have to, what is it in English, right? And if you can't say it, then start with the little things like that is a whisk, a whisk, right? To beat eggs, for example. That is a spatula, right? For example, spatula. And you can learn all of this new vocabulary, and you can also learn the new words. You can be like, I flip the vegetables, right, in the pan, right? You start to build these phrases, and you start to realize that you can practice using the present form, which we use a lot when we talk about our job. You can use the passive voice when we talk about a process, and you can practice really interesting phonetics as we looked at in the previous slide. So this is a great game to practice. This is something that I do when I'm learning a new language. When I'm learning Italian right now, so I read all my recipes in Italian and I repeat to myself what the correct verbs, the correct ingredients, the correct tools are. And it's a very fun exercise because you get to do two things at once. You get to cook and learn a language. Another thing too is that I would say that in the time of crisis, solidarity is a big thing, right? We're not able to eat together unless we're living with people that we can live with. We can't eat together. We can't go out and see people we love and care about. And I think that that hurts for a lot of people. So being able to find a way to create that same moment, whether you're eating alone or eating with others, it's a great way to find solidarity, to find peace with yourself too, and peace with others. So this is something I highly recommend. And the next time you cook, try to see if you can find the words for the tools you use and the ingredients you are cooking with. Again, that's what I said. It's a great game, and it's something I highly recommend for everybody who is learning English. So again, just to conclude that here, my name is Adriel. I am a professional instructor on italki. You can find my link below if you would like to book a class together to help you meet your needs. I teach general communication as well as business English. And on italki.com, you can find lots of other great professional instructors such as myself. You can find also many informal tutors. who are happy to help you with your needs, exchange partners, language exchange partners, as well as learning resources and videos that will help you achieve your goals and also improve whatever you're trying to improve in your target language, not just English, but many other languages as well. So again, I want to thank you again for tuning in today. It's always a pleasure to have you share your thoughts and opinions. And remember, you know, this is to me is an important topic, but it's one that we really need to think about in the time of crisis. So wherever you are right now in the world, I hope you are in good health, you are staying safe, that everybody you know is safe. And again, we're in difficult times, but I really appreciate that all of you are doing the best to get through this together, right? So again, thank you so much. We're going to be tuning in next. The next class is going to be in 30 minutes. It's going to be with Austin about texting abbreviations, text in English with fun expressions. And you should really keep tuned in to these live streams because there's lots of great teachers that are tuning in. I can name so many of them: Naz, Warren, Karen, Yemi, Atsuko. There's many others. So again, keep tuning in this week, and next week we'll have some brand new live sessions. I'll be on almost every day at 12:45. So again, I bid you farewell and have a good rest of your week and weekend. Austin's going to be up next, and wherever you are in the world, I wish you all the best here from France. Thank you very much.
Tendrás un profesor de idiomas personal y conversaciones reales con hablantes nativos. Cada día miles de personas aprenden con profesores internacionales a través de italki. Encuentra un profesor hoy y domina el idioma de tu lección.
Hi everyone, it's Vicente. I teach Spanish on italki.com. Today, we will be talking about 3 grammar rules to follow when you start learning Spanish. The first one is that, as you have already heard, Spanish verbs are always conjugated. That means that they have to match with the subject of the sentence. For example, there are different pronouns in Spanish. Yo, tú, él, ella, usted, nosotros, nosotras, vosotros, vosotras, and ellos, ellas, y usted. All these pronouns have their own conjugations, and it's very common for beginners to mix them up. So remember this. When you start to conjugate the verbs, they have to match. The second rule is very important as well. The Spanish nouns and adjectives has to be in the same level. Let me explain you this. If you have a noun that is feminine and plural, for example, las mujeres, the adjective that you have to use right after the noun has to be feminine and plural as well. For example, las mujeres españolas. It is the same with the articles las, female and plural. We use this article because, as I say, it's female and plural. The third rule I already mentioned before, and be careful, English speakers, because the adjectives in Spanish go after the noun, not before like in English. This is very common for students that learn Spanish and already speak or know English. When I say it, las mujeres españolas, españolas is the adjective, and I put it after las mujeres. In English, it would be Spanish woman, but not in Spanish. Okay, there are some occasions where the adjectives go before the nouns. That is true, but normally this use comes out at intermediate level or advanced level, so do not worry when you are a beginner. Thanks for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe to the italki YouTube channel over here. Take a lesson with me on italki.com by clicking on my teacher profile link in the description. Hasta luego! Hi everyone, it's Vicente and I teach Spanish on italki.com, and today I will be talking about 7 Spanish words that are similar to their English counterpart. These words are also known as cognates. What a cognate is? A cognate is a word that has the same linguistic derivation that another word, and it looks similar, and when you pronounce it, it sounds almost the same. And here I will give you 7 cognates so you can use them in Spanish as well. The first one is alcohol in Spanish. Guess you know what it means because it sounds pretty similar than in English, doesn't it? Number 2 is conclusión. This one has a different pronunciation in Spanish, but you will understand definitely when you start learning Spanish. Number 3, hobby. This one is completely similar. We basically took this word from English. Number 4, individual. Of course, it's the same word, just different pronunciation. The next one, number 5, is piercing. Yes, we use this word with the same pronunciation and meaning. Next one, number 6, is info. I like to use this one in my lessons to explain ways to greet and say goodbye because it's similar in English and is a word that the students understand very quickly. And the last are some words related to sports. If you are learning Spanish and you like sports, you're lucky because most of the words are cognates like football, tennis, baseball, volleyball, hockey, water polo, golf, surf, and so on. As you can see, almost all sports are cognates. So, talking about your hobbies should not be difficult. As you can see, there are many, and I would like to remember you that there are hundreds of cognates, and if you check them, you can be ready to your first Spanish lesson. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the italki YouTube channel for more tips on learning Spanish. Take a lesson with me on italki.com. Click on the teacher profile link in the description. Hasta luego!
Hi everyone, it's Caroline here and I teach English on italki. Today I am going to be talking about business idioms or idioms you might hear in your office or in your workplace. A student asked me a really good question the other day. He asked me whether, because I'm a native English speaker, do I know every single idiom? And the answer is no. Idioms are phrases or expressions that come from a particular place or a particular age group. So idioms are different in the UK to idioms in the United States. I have chosen 5 business idioms to talk to you about today, and you may hear them in an office in the UK or in the States. So hopefully they will be super useful for you. Idiom number 1 is the big picture. Imagine you go into a meeting and your boss says to you, you've lost sight of the big picture. What does that mean? That means that you are thinking too much about the small details of the project, and you are so interested in those little details that you don't remember what it is you're trying to achieve. So always keep sight of the big picture. The second idiom is to go the extra mile. Now imagine you're in an interview and the interviewer says to you that they are looking for someone who always goes the extra mile. What does that mean? Does it mean they want you to run around the office every day? No, it means they want you to do more than just what is in the job description. They want you to go that little bit further and to take on extra responsibilities. That is going the extra mile. The third idiom is a win-win situation. A win-win situation means everybody gains something. A really good example of this is these videos that I'm making for italki. Italki gains some content for their website, some lessons for their learners, and I have a platform where students can see me and book lessons with me. It's a win-win. Italki wins and Caroline wins. The fourth idiom is word of mouth. So an example of this is, think about how you found out about italki. Did you find italki by searching on Google, or did you find italki because one of your friends recommended it to you? Recommendations from friends are word of mouth. It can be positive or it can be negative. If your company gets bad word of mouth, it is going to be a very difficult time for your company because people really listen to the opinions of their friends. So make sure whatever you do, you have good word of mouth about it. The fifth and final business idiom is to touch base. My manager used to say this to me a lot. To touch base means to have a very quick and short meeting about a project or something that you are working on. It might only be 5 minutes of your time, but in that time, you will check that your understanding of the project is the same as your manager's understanding of the project. So I have a challenge for you. In your next lesson, I want you to ask your teacher if you can touch base about what you have learned in your lessons so far. This could be 5 minutes at the end of the lesson where you review all of the different subjects that you have been studying. You're touching base about the things you have covered so far. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to italki by clicking. You can take a lesson with me by clicking on my teacher profile in the description box. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.
Welcome back to the Stop Being Boring When Speaking English video series. When speaking to native English speakers, it's useful to use a variety of vocabulary to make your conversation sound more interesting and flow. Why not spice up your language a little bit and impress others with your speaking abilities? In this next video, we will take a look at some American and British slang.
Number 1, American. John Hancock.
John Hancock. So that's a person,
It's the name of a person, yes.
and it's American slang.
What do you think it means?
I just got John Hancock. Does it mean like wasted?
Certainly not.
Give me an example.
Okay, so can I please have your John Hancock at the bottom of this paper? Come on, you gotta get it now.
Is it your signature?
Yes, you got it! That was easy.
Okay, awesome. Number 1, British. Peak. What does peak mean?
Like, taking a peek.
Yeah, that's,
Sorry, that's not taking a peek.
that's not slang.
This is taking a peek.
Well, that's just like taking a peek. That's not slang.
Oh,
Like in a slang
like a
context.
peak. Like the peak of a mountain? That's not slang. That's actually
Yeah, that is the peak of a mountain.
I don't know. Tell me.
Okay, let me give you an example. So say you go out one night and you lose your purse, your keys.
Is it like
phone.
the most horrible situation you can be in?
Yeah, exactly. You'd be like, that's so peak. You'd be like, oh, yeah. How was your night? It was so peak.
I just got fired. That's so peak.
Exactly. So it's like the peak of badness, I guess.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah, okay. So the peak.
2, American. Jacked.
Jacked. Does that mean like hench?
What does hench mean?
Like say you go to the gym.
Don't answer back with a slang word.
So the British equivalent of jacked would be hench, I think. So if someone's like really ripped.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So hench.
Go to the gym, work out a
They're
lot.
like, whoa, look at him, he's so jacked.
We would say hench. Number 2, British. Peng. Peng.
Pang.
Peng. P-E-N-G. Peng.
Like someone being panged on the head with something? Or
I'm
just thinking of bang and pang kind of is similar, I don't know.
I guess it's a little similar. No.
Give me an example.
Okay, so for example, say you're eating a cake, it's delicious, you can say, oh, this is peng.
Does it just mean delicious?
You could use it in other contexts as
Just
well.
be like it hits the spot, you know?
Yeah, but I could also say that your eyes are peng. Or a person is peng.
Just mean like extraordinarily awesome.
Basically. If you're talking about a person, you might even say peng-ting.
Peng-ting.
Like he's a peng-ting.
Okay.
This is mostly
Like
London.
he's like a 10.
Yeah, exactly.
So like the top of top.
Yeah, basically.
Number 3, American. I blew it.
I blew it.
I blew it.
What a nightmare. I blew it.
Yeah.
So that means that you've completely ruined the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say like I didn't make it into school. So my parents will not be proud of me. I blew it.
Yeah. Well, you rocked up late to work. Don't really ever do that.
Yeah. I'm never late.
Number 3.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Austin, and welcome to another live italki class. It's my pleasure to be with you guys today. I will be reviewing some very popular texting abbreviations in English, but not only so you can text, but also so you can use these phrases and slang words to communicate with native speakers, because of course we use most of these abbreviations in our normal speech. First, I want to hear, where are you guys watching from today, and also what questions do you have with English, even with American culture? I will be reviewing these abbreviations, but we will have plenty of time to talk about your questions and concerns with English. So again, thank you so much for being here today with me, and let's jump right into it. I will be checking both pages on italki and YouTube to look at comments, so sometimes I will need to take a brief pause to check those out, but let's go. All right, so the first abbreviation is the most common abbreviation that you'll probably ever see on the internet and when you're messaging people. Of course, it is LOL. LOL. This is laughing out loud. Literally, it would be like you're laughing, like ha ha ha, laughing out loud. But in many cases, the person is not actually laughing. It's maybe not that funny, but maybe something, it's interesting or it's kind of funny. But there's another important way that Americans especially like to use LOL. It can be added at the end of a sentence or a phrase to help soften the message. So maybe if I need to say something, but I don't want to appear rude, I can add LOL at the end. I would not do this in a formal situation, of course, if I am texting someone from work or texting someone from a business meeting, although hopefully you're calling them if it's really important. But if you're texting friends or family or people, just your peers that aren't work people, you can use LOL at the end if you need to respond
with something that's maybe a little direct, but we use that very often. Hello, Camila. So glad you guys are here today. And let's see who else is here. Emma from France. Welcome, guys. Wonderful to have you here. Again, if you have any questions, please throw those at me. All right. Let me just check the comments again. Okay. The second one that I really use very often is IDK. I don't know. This phrase by itself is very important in English. There are many ways that you can also say, I don't know, but when you're texting, it's very common to say IDK, I don't know. You can also say in English, I'm not sure. If you're Spanish, it's no tengo certeza, or eu não tenho certeza if you're speaking Portuguese. So I'm not sure, I don't know. If you really don't know, you can also say I have no idea. I have no idea. But that abbreviation, IDK, is very common. All right, Marina, hello from Luxembourg. Fantastic to have you here. I think you were in the last live that I did. My wife and I really love Luxembourg, and we're planning to visit there this fall. So it's a wonderful country. All right. Again, if you guys are watching, throw some questions at me. It would be a lot of fun to be able to talk about that after. All right. Next up is IDC. Very similar. IDK, IDC, but the meaning is very different. I don't care. This can be very rude if you do not use it in the right situation. If someone is being nice or they're trying to tell you something and you say, I don't care, with an intonation that's very direct and firm, this seems very rude. But for example, if someone asks you, hey, which restaurant do you prefer to eat at today? You say, nah, I don't care. Anything is fine. In this case, it's okay. You're saying, I don't care in a good way. You can also say, I don't mind. But it's all about that intonation in your voice, like, I don't care, or I don't care. That difference in pronunciation or difference in tone, excuse me, will make a big difference. So be really careful with that. If you don't know the person very well, or maybe don't know the context, why they're telling you what they told you, just be careful, because if you say I don't care to the wrong person, especially in a message, because you don't have your tone, you don't have your emotion, I don't care could be taken as very rude if you use it in the wrong moment. All right. Emma, very interesting question. IDM for I don't mind. I have never used that, but a lot of these text abbreviations happen because we take phrases that we use very commonly and we decide to shorten them. So theoretically, you could totally do that. I would use small letters. Let's see. Oops, all caps. I would use IDM, maybe small letters, but that's a great question. And yes, great additions as well. You have in these comments here, BTW and TBH. Fantastic. Roberto, hello from Liverpool. Yes, LMAO, super common as well. I'll explain that one. It's really popular, but we have to be very careful with whom we use it, but very good. Guys, also, for you watching on italki, I'm going to give you this link so that if you want to watch it later on YouTube, you can see my comments, my responses, because I'm responding on the YouTube one, kind of explaining all of these. But if not, then later today I could come back on italki and try to put these in for you guys. All right. Next up, one of my favorites to use is OMW. It's so common that I have it saved in my phone. When I type in OMW, it automatically extends to on my way. This is a great phrase, on my way. When you translate this phrase literally, it really doesn't make sense. On being on top of, and then my way, my path, my method in some cases. So literally translated, this doesn't make sense, but it's a way to tell someone that you are traveling to where they are. It's very common if you have plans to meet someone, meet your family, your friends, or anyone really, and you want to tell them that you are traveling to the place where you need to meet them. You can say, I'm on my way. It's a great way to tell someone that you have left your house and you are now traveling to that place. I usually send it when I walk out the door. If I'm driving somewhere, before I get in the car, I say OMW, on my way. Or if I'm walking to meet someone, then I'll text them as I leave my apartment. But again, very common, very popular, and this will definitely help you. Maybe if you don't use the abbreviation, that's okay. If you just want to text someone on my way, that's really good as well. They'll definitely understand that. All right. Let's see. Any other questions? Lidzania, hello. Where's Austin? Yeah, so good to see you guys here. No more questions yet, but please put those questions in there. Okay, another way to say I'm on my way is to say I'm heading over, or I'm heading that way. Heading, your head. So you make a verb out of head. I'm heading over. Again, this does not make sense when you literally translate it. It's kind of silly, kind of funny, but it's very common to say, again, I'm traveling to that place where we're going to meet, or I'm going to that place. But in this case, with heading over, you can also say, for example, I'm heading to the beach now. In this case, you can just be telling the person, like, hey, I'm heading to the beach at 3 o'clock, but after that, we can get coffee. So you can use heading to just say that you're going somewhere, basically. So it doesn't necessarily have to be the place where you're going to meet them. All right. Let's see. All right, heading over. Next, we have LMK. LMK. This is let me know. This grammatical structure in English is very common. And to use the verb let, you're saying allow. So again, this phrase would be allow me to know. But let me know, you're telling someone to basically tell you when something happens, or tell you when you need to do something. So for example, I can tell someone, hey, would you like to get coffee today at 3? And they could say, I'm not sure yet. I will let you know. So basically, if you're not sure about your plans, you're not sure when you will be available, or what you can respond. If you can't say yes or no to that question, you can say, I will let you know. You're telling them that you will inform them of your decision at a different time in the future. So let me know is very common, very good to use in English because it's simple and practical. So I definitely recommend you guys use let me know. Again, with this abbreviation, LMK, it's not always used as an abbreviation. You can also just write the phrase, let me know. It's very common. But let me do something. Let me think. Let me look. Let me see. This English grammatical structure is very important. Again, very common, and will help you to speak more like a native speaker. So these other examples, let me think about it. Right? I need to think. Let me think. Allow me to think about it. But allow, in this case, seems too formal. So we say, let me see. Maybe you need to think like, let me see, what do we want to do today? Let me see can also be physically, let me see something. So please allow me to see, let me see something. So this is very good. Okay, let's check the questions again. Let's see. All right, guys. Yes, Emma, let me tell you that. Very good. All right, guys. Let's see. Next up, a very common abbreviation many of you probably know is JK. Often it's at the end of a sentence because you say something maybe you did not mean, or you say something that is a joke and you want to respond with JK. Just kidding. Just kidding is a way to say it was just a joke. I'm not being serious. I just wanted to, tell this joke or be funny. And then you can say just kidding as a way to let the person know that you weren't being serious. So that's very important. And Americans with humor, sometimes Americans can be kind of sensitive, so you have to be careful. If you're speaking with an American that's very sensitive, you cannot, or maybe you don't want to make a lot of jokes about them just because, again, they might get easily offended. But then you will meet other Americans who love to make jokes. They love to joke with their friends and say funny things about their friends. And many times they don't say just kidding. So with American humor, it really depends on the person. But in any case, if you say a joke or you say something that you do not really mean, you can say JK, just kidding. Let's see a question here. Raul, I'm not sure what that is. If it's appropriate, if it's not bad words, then feel free to put it in here. But yeah, I have personally not used that. So yeah, very interesting. Let's see, JK. All right, this is another one. This is very simple, very cute. If you're sending it to your significant other, it's ILY. If anyone has an idea, put it in the chat. Okay, Raul, as far as I know, very good. I like that a lot. Very good. Thanks for teaching me that. Yeah, that's awesome. So now we have ILY, which is I love you. Of course, for your significant other, you can text ILY if you want to abbreviate this phrase. If you don't want to text them I love you, you can say ILY. This can also be used to say, to your friend, like, man, maybe not all your friends. You have to be careful. But you can use it to say, man, that's really funny. What you said or what you did was really cool. ILY. So I love you. But again, you have to think about the right context for that. Otherwise, it might be weird. Okay, let's see. Any other questions, guys? Some of you guys, I know you're filling up the chat with conversation. That's okay, but let's get some questions from you guys so we'll have some fun stuff to talk about. Again, Raul, thank you for that. If you have any questions about English or any American stereotypes, please feel free to put those in the comments. Okay. The next one is one that is super common for me. I use every day, and it's SG. Sounds good. Sounds good, again, literally translated would be like a good sound, something that you're hearing, it has a good sound. But this is a way to say that you like what the person is saying or you agree with them. So again, I like to talk about going out for coffee. So if someone says, hey, let's go out for coffee at 3 o'clock today, I'll say, sounds good, SG, sounds good. When I'm texting, SG. And when I'm speaking, of course, sounds good. I can say that sounds good. That sounds great. For example, you can also use it for things you don't approve of, like, that doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound good. Like, I don't know about that. I'm not sure about that. Or even, that sounds terrible. So if someone's telling you about a bad experience they had, you say, wow, that sounds terrible. This structure with sounds is very common in English for native speakers. We love to use this. So, oh, that sounds good, sounds bad, that sounds terrible, as a way to say, wow, what you're telling me appears that it was bad, uncomfortable, or good, depending on what your response is. And all right, guys, let's see. Emma, yes, ASAP. That's very good. That's another one that's very common. And we do actually say this abbreviation. So ASAP, as soon as possible. Great job, Emma. As soon as possible is very common. Again, in a professional environment, you don't want to say this to your boss, but it is very common to use that to your peers, people on your level, or your subordinates. So people that work for you, it would be very common to use ASAP if you really need to emphasize that you need it as soon as possible. I use this a lot in business when I'm working with suppliers or vendors for my company. It's very common for me to say, you know, I need to get this done ASAP. I need to finish this ASAP. So yeah, it's very good, ASAP. All right. And next up, I'm going to go over the other ones that Emma contributed. So again, Emma, thank you so much. BTW. This is by the way. This is a way to say, you know, I'm informing you of something. You would never say I'm informing you of something because that sounds just really, really formal. So we say, by the way. You can also say, for your information, FYI. This can sound a little more rude, a little ruder, or a little more condescending if you say this in the wrong context. If you say FYI, so you have to be careful with that. By the way is more casual. It's less threatening. So if you do need to tell someone, by the way, I found out that we have a meeting today at 4 o'clock. Or by the way, I remembered that I watched that TV show that you loved yesterday. But yeah, FYI, for your information. Usually FYI is a way to respond to someone who maybe said something incorrect about you or said something incorrect in general. And you can say, yeah, for your information, the truth is this, or for your information, I'm actually only 27. I'm not 40, as a silly example. So FYI. But again, by the way is nicer, less threatening, and FYI is more of a response when you're upset with someone, you're angry. You can also say, just to let you know. Just to let you know. So again, related to what we said about let me know, let you know. In this case, you're saying, by the way, but you're saying just to let you know. So just to tell you, just to inform you, you need to remember to send those emails today. All right, let's see what we got. Any other questions? All right. Okay. All right, TBH is another one that Emma had put in there. Very good. To be honest. To be honest. So again, if someone asks your opinion about a movie that you really don't like, you say, oh man, I loved that movie. What do you think? He's like, to be honest, I really didn't like it. Yeah, to be honest, it wasn't good. Yeah, TBH, to be honest. Very good. And LMAO was another one that was mentioned, so thank you guys for that. I can't give you the translation of this. Some people say LMBO. If you really don't like to use bad words. LMAO, if you text that, it's not a problem. But if you spell all of that out, it does include a word in English that is kind of vulgar, not great to say. So that's why I'm not going to give the translation. But it's used like a stronger version of LOL. You know, you're laughing, something was really funny, you really like something. LMAO, LMBO in other cases. All right. Emma, yes, you too can also be okay. Let's see. So do we have any other questions today, guys? If not, I'm going to jump into some other content. I've got some phrasal verbs that I used in my last lesson. Anything else? Any other questions? Let's see. Yeah. I've seen online some of these abbreviations that people put in here. A lot of websites will really try, again, to create content and give as many examples as possible because, you know, today I've given you like 11 or 12 good examples of ones that I know are common here in America. But if you go on to other websites, it might say 25, and then that another website wants to show more. So they say 100 of the most popular texting abbreviations. Be careful with those sites because some of them are hilarious, but some never heard or never used, and or you know, some of them just don't make any sense. So if you look at a website that says, you know, these are 100 texting abbreviations, just be careful because, you know, maybe we don't actually use those a lot, or maybe some of them are older from like the early 2000s. But yeah, so it's not always as informative as we think sometimes just because it's on those websites. But okay, guys, so if there are no other questions right now, then I'm going to jump into some phrasal verbs. But again, I would love to hear from you guys, love to know what you want to know more about in English. So please throw those questions at me. Again, just to review, on Tuesday in my other live stream, I mentioned how to study phrasal verbs. If you guys are not familiar with phrasal verbs, it's all of those crazy verbs where you're taking the root verb and you're adding a preposition, or some people call a particle, so some kind of word to that verb to create a phrase. So that's why it's called a phrasal verb. And in most of the cases, this preposition changes the meaning of the root verb. In a lot of cases, on the other side, you have a lot of prepositions that indicate direction, like up or down, for example. And in those cases, it's very common, just very commonly talking about direction. So look up, for example, is telling you to look up. But of course, with the verb give, when you add give up, this is two things. It could mean, you know, you need to give something away, you know, something that you are hiding, you need to give it up. But this could also mean that you are quitting something. To give up is to quit. So this can be very frustrating for people studying English because it's not always very logical. It's sometimes difficult to translate, sometimes difficult to understand what the person is trying to say, especially if you are kind of newer to English and you are learning vocabulary more from the textbook. Sometimes they don't include a lot of these phrasal verbs. So give up, we're starting with the root verb give, which is, you know, to give something to someone, to give someone something. So give up is to quit. To give out also mean two things. So if you're giving out things, I'm giving out this pen as a prize. I'm giving out this. I'm giving out candy to my students. I would prefer coffee. So giving out coffee to my students. But give out can also mean to give up, to quit. It can say, you can say, for example, I was running the marathon and my legs gave out. So you were running and your legs just quit working. Your legs gave out on you. So this is another good way to use that. Again, I'm checking for questions. Anything, guys? Throw me a bone here. Okay. Let me just drink some water real quick. All right. Another way to say give up and give out is give in. So to give in, to cave in, means to stop doing something. Maybe someone has been asking you to do something for them. So this happens a lot with parents who are tired. If you're at the store and your child is just asking you for a toy or asking you for candy, and they just ask you so many times and you're tired and you're stressed, you might give in and allow them to get that toy. So be careful. You don't want to give in. You don't want to cave in. And again, give up or give out. But in this case, it's like you're just deciding, okay, I'm just going to give in. I'm going to do what this person wants me to do. I'm going to give in. Okay. All right. Next is look. So this phrasal verb to look is just with your eyes, to look at something. There are two different verbs for using your eyes, to look and to see. To see is more passive. To look is, you know, something more active. So I'm looking at the wall. I'm looking at the camera. But I see a lot of things. I see a building. I see myself on this computer screen, but I'm looking at the camera. It's the same thing with the difference of hear and listen. So I hear something, I hear sounds, but now I'm listening, so it's active. So again, look is an active verb, okay? So look up. To look up, again, physically, is to look up. To look down, it's just like that. But to look up something can also mean to try and find the definition, try to find information about it. So look up can also mean try to find information about something. So whenever I'm studying other languages, very often I have to use the translator app on my phone, and I need to look up the translation or look up the definition of a word. So this is very common. I need to look it up online, for example. All right. To look into something is like to investigate. You look into something. Now, I really need to look into that person because something's not right about them. I really need to look into them. All right. Another common one is look out. Look out is a great warning. It means to be careful because maybe you see something falling. So it's like, look out, you know, you need to get out of the way. Get out of the way, be careful. All right. Questions. No questions. Okay, here's a question going from all the way up to Dima. Yeah, so I can't post your comment, Dima, but yeah, so basically a nice way to say that is to say messing around. So don't mess around. I'll type that on the italki chat for you. Sorry, I just saw that. Dima, you can say messing around instead to avoid being rude. So yeah, you can say messing around instead of what you wrote, just messing around. This kind of means like you're also goofing off. Like you don't really, you're not doing anything important. You're being silly. You're just doing something that's nonsense. You're just messing around. This can mean that you're joking around. You're making a joke. You're laughing. But for example, in class, when I was teaching high school, some of my students, they would be messing around. You know, maybe they're talking to each other. They're making jokes. And so I would say, guys, quit messing around. Pay attention. So obviously in an informal situation with your friends, if you like to use that phrase, then you can say that for sure. But I always use messing around just because it's not. And Vletsania, it's okay. Any question, if you have any questions about American culture, American stereotypes, or anything that you're interested in related to English, it would be great. Let's see. So Emma, to wander off is a little different. Goofing off is kind of like you're being silly. You're again, you're joking, you're laughing, you're not being serious. You're just goofing off. To wander off is like to walk away. So you just walked away. You wandered off into the woods or wandered off into the city. It means you don't really have a plan. You're just walking around. So that's a good word. Great difference. Let's see. Yeah, so anything. Yeah, lasagna. No problem. And on YouTube, if you guys who are watching, if you have any questions as well, feel free to throw those here. Okay, guys. So any other questions? Let's see. So yeah, Dima, sorry it took me so long to respond to that. I hope you are still watching. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. All right. Another phrasal verb we can use is from carry. To carry something is like, to hold something in your arms like this, to carry something. You can carry a baby. You can carry a puppy. You can carry any object. I'm carrying a cup, for example. And we have carry on. This is probably one of the most famous phrasal verbs because of a popular sign, a popular meme that came out probably in 2011 or 2010. And it said, keep calm and carry on. This has become quite a cliche. It's an old meme now, so you don't see it as much. But that phrasal verb, carry on, is more common in Britain. But because of this meme, we use it a lot in America as well. And we have in the past. Carry on just means to continue. Continue doing what you're doing. So if someone is working and they stop and ask a question, you can say, okay, yeah, here's the answer, but please carry on. So you're asking them to continue. Please carry on. All right, carry off. To carry off something means to take away something, to remove something. Let's see, carry on, carry off. Carry out is really good right now. Basically, it's the same as take out. In these cases, it's when you order food to go. This is very common, especially in America, or if you get a to-go box. If you're eating at a restaurant and you don't finish your meal, then you need to carry out your food. You need to get a takeout box or a carry-out box. But again, it's very common to say, hey, let's order some carry out today. So carry out food. Let's see. Okay. And going back a little bit to the keep calm, keep it up is a very common phrase as well. It means don't give up. Continue doing what you're doing. So keep it up. Keep up the good work. Keep up the good work. I love to say that in general, but even with my students as well, especially if they're feeling discouraged, keep up the good work. If they're doing a great job and I see that they're really working hard, I'll say keep up the good work. Let's see. Checking the questions again. Awesome, Dima. Good. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, but Sanya, a question about US visa. I could answer it, but since this is an English lesson, I'm going to avoid that question today because it's very complicated, especially with the current situation. Emma, yes, to carry on is to keep on as well. Yeah, keep on going. Usually what we would say is just carry on, continue. But you can say keep on, like keep on doing something, keep on working hard, keep on eating, keep on drinking your coffee. So with keep on, you need to add some kind of verb with the ing after that. So again, keep on drinking your coffee. That's what I'm doing today. Carry on drinking your coffee. You can say that, but you can also say carry on just by itself. So that's good as well. Let's see. All right. There we go. Raul. Do you know the Franz Ferdinand song, Take Me Out? Do you know what does it mean? Great question. I do know that song. Man, I was listening to that. I think it came out in like 2008, maybe, or 2009, somewhere around then. Totally remember that. I had my first car. So yeah, good memories driving around listening to those bands. I also listened to The Killers a lot during that time. But yeah, take me out is a great phrase. So take me out has two main contexts. Take me out means to kind of, let me think how to explain that. Kind of to bring you out, you know, like I really want to leave the house. So take me out. Take me out into the city, into the town. Like, let's go do something, basically. Let's go do something together. Like, hey, when are you going to take me out to dinner? When are you going to take me out? It's kind of like to take on a date, to take someone on a date. So if you're dating, in my case, I'm married, so my wife could ask, hey, when are you going to take me out to dinner, right? When is this going to end and we can actually go out somewhere? So take me out. To take someone out can also mean in a violent way. So to take someone out could mean to knock them out, or could imply something more violent. So it really depends on the context. If you're like, hey, someone needs to take that guy out, that could be a phrase. Someone doesn't like that person. They're using it as a way to say, you know, I don't like him. I kind of, you know, I want something violent to happen. So in that case, of course, it's not great to use. But in the song Franz Ferdinand, I haven't analyzed the lyrics, but I'm pretty sure he's just talking about, you know, take me out on a date, basically, take me out. I don't think he's challenging someone to a fight. But great question. But yeah, that's such a throw song. Good song. All right. Any other questions popping up here? Emma, yeah, so it could be, yeah, to invite me somewhere. That's, yeah, it's a great way to put it. Wonderful, Emma. So take me out, like, when are you going to take me out? When are you going to invite me somewhere? You know, again, if we look at the phrasal verb using pick, no problem, Raul. So we have the verb to pick something. In Spanish, it's escoger, escolher in Portuguese. Choisir in French. I don't know what languages you guys are speaking today here, but to pick something is to choose something. So pick something, choose something, pick your favorite flavor of ice cream. But you can add these wonderful little prepositions, pick up. So instead of choosing something, it means, let's say that my phone is on a table, I need to pick it up. So pick up my phone, or if someone is at a restaurant or a building or somewhere else and they need a ride. If they don't have a car, then I will go get in my car and I will drive to pick them up, to give them a ride. So this is very good. Like, hey, can you please pick me up today at 3:30? So that's very popular. So yeah, take me out. In some ways, depending on the date, could also mean like, hey, pick me up, take me to dinner, take me on a date, depending on the context. Let's see. Okay, thanks, Emma. Let's see. Lasagna, good question. To pick up means to steal. It's not really stealing. No, usually it just means you're just taking something. If it's not yours, then yeah, you're stealing, of course. But in this case, I can use it to say, oh, my phone is on the table. Let me pick it up. Or, hey, pick up that phone for me, please. Also, if a phone is ringing, if it's making a sound, you can pick up the phone. So you will hear that often if the phone is ringing, like, man, please pick up the phone. Like, hurry and pick up the phone. I say that very often when I'm working with customer service people that I need a service done, and I'm calling and waiting. I'm like, come on, please pick up the phone. Okay, to pick out something. Pick out something is also to choose. So like, I need to pick out an outfit for dinner today. Pick out an outfit for dinner today. So I need to choose some clothes that'll be good for this situation. I need to pick out a nice suit for this formal event today. Pick out, pick on. To pick on someone is, again, in two contexts. If you are in a classroom and the teacher says, okay, raise your hand if you know the answer to the question, and maybe a lot of people raise their hand, so the teacher needs to pick on someone. The teacher needs to choose someone. Like, I'm going to pick on Jeffrey. But to pick on someone can also mean to bully someone. So it can be very bad. So if you see someone at school, if you guys are in school, or if you saw someone in school, if you're out of school, that was being bullied, you can say that that person was picking on them. And you'll see this in a lot of American like high school TV shows or movies that show bullies. They'll say, hey, quit picking on that kid. Or they'll say, pick on someone your own size. Oops. Pick on someone your own size. And that's kind of a challenge. You're telling that bully to stop picking on that other kid and to pick on someone their own size. So you're saying, hey, I'm going to defend that kid. So come at me. Come at me, bro. Let's see. Pick on someone your own size. Yeah. All right. Let's see. And yeah, Emma, sorry, I just saw now. So yeah, to take someone out in that case is more of a couple thing. Yeah, you wouldn't really, I guess you could say you're taking your friends out. Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, I'm taking the kids out for a walk, for example. I'm taking the dog out. That's definitely not a date, right? Taking the dog out for a walk. So you can say that. I'm taking the kids out to go to the park. So you're right, yeah. In this case, like to date, it's definitely for couples, but you can also talk about taking out your dog, taking out, the kids, for example. But yeah, with a close person, yeah, usually you're going to take out someone that's close to you, or at least is your friend, to do something together. You wouldn't, be like, oh, I need to take the new guy out to show him the town. You could do that also, but yeah, more commonly it's used with people that are closer to you. So good question. Guys, we have 15 minutes left in class. So again, keep these questions coming. I want to take a second to thank italki for doing all these amazing live stream classes. It's been such a pleasure to participate with them. And I really want to encourage you guys, if you want to improve your English or continue using your English, then I definitely recommend italki professors. I've been working on italki for a long time, done almost 550 lessons, I can proudly say. And so if you're looking for a teacher to work with on italki, then please follow the link that'll be in the comment section today before the end of class. That link will appear, and it will be my pleasure to help you to plan your goals with English, talk about effective study methods, as well as to answer any questions you might have English or vocabulary. So again, that link will be in the comments before the end of today's class, and I really hope that I can see you guys in italki sometime in the classroom. But let's jump back to it. Okay. Take me off. Let's see. Bledzania, to take off. So took me off the computer many times. You could use that. I wouldn't say it's super common. To take off also means, like, for example, if you have a jacket, take off your jacket, remove your jacket. So yeah, to take off can also mean to remove something. Remove. But yeah, taking someone off of the computer, you can say that, yeah. Maybe it's not as common, but yeah, you can definitely say that. Let's see. Okay. As we're coming into the final part of class, I'm going to share with you guys some other popular slang words and slang phrases that I really like to use in English. A couple of them I've taught in other live streams, so I apologize if you've seen them already. This one is both a phrasal verb and a great slang expression. So it's hang out. You can ask someone, hey, do you want to hang out today? In this case, you're asking them, do you want to get together? Do you want to do something together? Do you want to plan something? Do you want to hang out today? Yeah. You can also just tell someone if they ask what you are doing and you're not really doing anything, you can say, I'm just hanging out today. So like this weekend, especially since we can't really go anywhere, I'm just going to be hanging out. Yeah, hanging out with my wife, chilling. Let's see, woo gaming, take off to release something. Maybe so in some context. Yeah, to release something. For sure. All right. These words I like to use very often to express that something is interesting or something is good. The most common is one that you guys have probably seen a lot, which is cool. Literally, the definition of this is the opposite of warm. So you have hot, warm, cool, cold. So this is a very common word. It's been common in the United States for decades, but we like to say cool. Another slightly newer one is to say sweet. The literal translation of sweet is like if you're eating candy or a dessert, something is very sweet. It's a sugary flavor. It's the opposite of bitter. So something is sweet. But you can use sweet very commonly to express that you like something or you think it's interesting, you think it's neat. For example, you think it's cool. So if something good happens to your friend, they tell you that they just got a new job, you can say, oh, sweet, cool, that's great. Yeah. We also say nice for everything if it's a positive situation. If it's not a positive situation, you don't want to say nice, so you need to pay attention. But nice can also be good if you're not sure what to say, if the person, maybe they're just saying, oh, yeah, my dog yesterday, we walked for 2.5 hours. Maybe, okay, you don't know how to respond to that. And you say, oh, nice, nice, yeah. So you're kind of showing interest. You're showing that it was something positive. But maybe if you're not sure how to react in a certain context, nice can be very good. Let's see. Vlitsania, good question. Yeah, hang on. Hang on is wonderful. Thank you for reminding me. That's another really good phrasal verb. Hang on. That's a way to say wait. Wait. You can also say hold on. So just like wait a second, please. Hold on a second, please. Hang on a second, please. Again, of course, you really want to know the situation. You really want to not use this with someone in a formal situation, or especially your parents, for example, or your boss at work. You wouldn't want to say, hold on, hang on, wait a second. You have to be very careful. Yeah, wait a second, please. But I personally would never say that to a boss ever. Even if it's a very, informal work environment, I still would not say that to my boss. Because I know as a boss, I would be angry if someone told me that. I'd be like, come on, don't tell me to hold on, just do it. And yes, Emma, planes take off. Very good. So a plane taking off it's taking off the runway. It's going up, exactly. And when it's coming down, it's landing. So yeah, very good. Yeah, Vletsania, yeah, I would not recommend telling your parents to hang on. Yeah, not a good idea. So yeah, it might be a little disrespectful. But for your friends, or again, if it's a really, casual situation, like someone says, hey, can you send me that picture? Like, yeah, hang on just a second. Or hang on, let me do that. Hold on, let me do that. That can totally work as well. So that's okay. But yeah, I wouldn't, if someone's like asking you to do a favor and it's like, your parents or someone that you need to show respect to, I wouldn't recommend saying, hold on. Okay, I'm sorry to hear that. That's very unfortunate. Let's see. Raul might be a hang on, a fanatic. I have not heard that. It seems logical, someone is just hanging on, a fanatic. I have not personally seen that slang, but if you've seen it online or you've seen it in a book or another lesson, it could possibly be a very specific slang phrase. So that's a really good question, but I personally have not used it in that context. Let's see. All right, guys. Let's see. What other questions? Okay. Well, all right, guys. Another really, really common phrase that's a slang phrase, it's a greeting in English, is what's up? I'm sure many of you guys have heard this. I often get asked by my students, how to respond to this question, what's up? It's basically, you're basically saying, what's going on? What's happening? So the most common response is nothing much or not much. Basically, hey, what's happening? What's going on? And we most commonly respond with nothing much, not much. And then you can ask the person, what's up? What's up with you? But in the street, it's very common if you just see someone that you can say, hey, what's up? And they'll say, hey, what's up as well. And you just keep walking. So that's basically it. So don't freak out if an American or someone says, what's up to you? You don't have to say good. You don't have to say bad or so-so. You can just say, nothing much. Nothing much. What's up with you? A good way to say goodbye is to say, catch you later. I'll catch you later. See you later is the meaning of that. So you can use that as well. Catch you later. See you later. All right. Guys, I really would love to hear some questions. Blitzania, yeah, that's not a good phrase. It's really vulgar. So I wouldn't recommend using that. So no, it's not the same as what's up. Yeah, what's up is like, how are you doing? Yeah, exactly. But yeah, be careful with that other phrase. I definitely don't recommend using that very often. Let's see. All right. Well, guys, again, please throw some questions at me. We got a few more minutes left. What's up? How are you doing? Okay. So another thing, jumping into more slang, what you can say. Also, if someone says, what's up? You can say, just chillin'. This is a super fun way to respond to chill. To chill out is a phrasal verb. It means to relax. So just to chill out today, I'm chilling out. I'm relaxing today, just chilling. It's a funny way to respond. So if someone says, what's up? You can say, just chilling. I think they think that's really funny. So that's good. But chill out. But if you tell someone, again, like, hey, chill out, then you're telling them to calm down, which is not... again, not something you want to say in a formal situation or to your parents or your boss or your teacher, for example, like, chill out. Anderson, great question. I feel you. Yeah, this is a super funny phrase in English. It basically means I understand you. I understand what you're saying. So, for example, if someone tells me, man, I am really tired of being inside because of this situation, then I can say, oh, I feel you. It's like, I agree, I understand. So that's a really good phrase. It is funny because it's like, I feel you, I feel you. It's really awkward if you think about the translation, but the actual meaning, it just means I understand what you're saying or I agree with you. Another way to say that you agree with someone is you can say that again. So, if they're like, oh, I'm so tired of being inside, I say, I feel you. You can say that again. So it's like, man, I agree with you. It's terrible. Raul, TV series many times use easy fella. Easy fella to me sounds kind of like an older slang, kind of like with the cowboys, easy fella. But yeah, it means calm down. So take it easy is a great way to say calm down. Take it easy. Like no reason to be angry. Just calm down. Take it easy. All right. Okay, guys. Any other questions? We've got a couple. Yeah, Emma, great. I feel you. I get you. Dima, hanging out, chilling out with friends. In this case, it's the same. So that's a great question. I'm hanging out with my friends. I'm chilling out with my friends. In this case, it's the same. So that's really a good example. It means you're not really doing anything specific. You don't have any plans necessarily. You're just spending time together with your friends in this case. I'm just chilling out at home. I'm hanging out at home, hanging out with my family. So that's a really good example, a good question. So yeah, all right, guys, we're going to wrap up. Again, I want to tell each one of you, thank you very much for your participation today in this live stream. Again, please follow the link that'll be in the comments. It would be such a pleasure to do a class with you guys or do classes with you to help you to plan your goals with English and to help you achieve those goals with English. It's very important that if you're wanting to improve your English or learn more, that you create goals that are realistic and relevant for your life. And that's one of my specialties here on italki. So again, follow that link. You can book a class with me, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Stay safe, stay at home, and can't wait to see you guys in class. All right? Take care.
Having a mare, a nightmare, like horrible, real nightmare in reality, basically. Very good. That's exactly it. That's a lot easier than that previously. Yeah, well, I thought I'd go into you. Having a mare? You were having a mare before. I was having a mare. Yeah. Not understanding anything she was saying. Yeah, exactly. So there you have it. There's our British and American slang. Tell us what you thought of it. Did you understand it? And we'll see you next time.
My name is Vũ Nguyễn. Tên tôi là Vũ Nguyễn. It's really amazing thing for me. From italki, I can meet people around the world, and they can give me more energy to live and more inspiration to live the world also. Very magical, yeah. When I can go on lesson and I feel that I'm doing a very good job, and then working at home is a very wonderful thing. I think that I can do something, and I'm doing something here. I think that I can say idea and talk with people. That is the first motivation for me to come here. The second thing that I can have some money for my life to make my life become better and more comfortable. It's a very wonderful website of italki because italki is the connection between every people in the world with each other. There are many purposes for us to learn a new language. Innovation is the most important. Not only study language, but also sharing idea and culture and everything else in the life. And through the learning and teaching, and we can share more idea and we can share our life better. You know that because each person have their own experience and their own knowledge and their own way of living. And when we meet new people and we think that we are discovering a new universe or a new area or something like that.
So it's wonderful that we have this diversity and we should just learn from each other. But if you at least just learn a second language and expose yourself to a second culture, not only do you understand that culture better, but you understand your own culture better. And if most people just did that and were talking openly and honestly about themselves and other people, I don't think there would be any diversity problems. Because we're all learning from each other.
He is a very good student. He studied very well, and he just learned for, he just only studied for 1 month, but now he can speak very much Vietnamese. Later on, the student and the teacher can meet in a different country, and then the relationship become very good. We drink coffee together, and we go and I ride a motorbike, and I take them along somewhere beautiful together, and we talk together, and then they come back to their country, and we become teacher and student again. We study again. Yeah.
The number of refugees worldwide has reached historic levels as tens of millions of people seek asylum from conflicts in their home countries. Even for those able to reach countries willing to take them in, rebuilding their lives and careers in unfamiliar societies often proves challenging. For one group of refugees living in Istanbul, teaching online Arabic lessons to students across the world has offered a way to overcome these obstacles and establish new hope. As well as earning income, they have been able to share their experiences with people from different cultures and backgrounds, cultivating meaningful relationships with students.
My name is Rahaf and I'm from Latakia, Syria. Previously, I had a normal but busy life.
My name is Abdullah and I'm a Syrian guy from Homs, the capital of funny jokes.
Hello, my name is Amr. I'm an Arabic teacher on italki. I'm from Egypt.
Hi, I'm Hussam. I'm from Syria, Al-Hasaka, and I'm a teacher on italki now.
3 years ago, I came to Turkey, to Istanbul. Many challenges came in one time. Leaving a country is not, or leaving your home. This is one, it's like fish out of the group.
I mean, the challenge that my career is almost dead. This is the only challenge now. Online teaching, it solves this problem, of course, because you can just be wherever and get online and start your class.
What italki offered me is like new students I have never met from another continent, way far from me. Once they want to like learn my language, I feel like this is like, I feel sometimes emotional.
italki, Bessa College and NGO Small Projects Istanbul are working together on this project.
You know, it's important for people to kind of see and get to know someone who's experiencing a difficult time or who has had a difficult past, and to just remember people are people are people. We need to remember that, you know, we have a shared humanity, and I think that gets lost a lot in the media or in the news.
I'm teaching Arabic for first-year students of Arabic in America. We both enjoy teaching and learning online. It's an amazing experience for me as a teacher. I find it so helpful for me, also for the students.
Going into it, people might like have these assumptions that you're supposed to like learn something about refugees or like understand something new. But I think it's like most valuable to realize that like you're not really learning anything new other than that like this is like just another person, just like you.
My tutor, Mohammed, was like so nice and so willing to work with my level of speaking and comprehension.
At the beginning, teaching online was a new experience for me, and it had a lot of challenges, but now I'm used to it. And honestly, I'm enjoying teaching Arabic on italki.
I care now, I care more. I care more about the language, I care more about my students. Teaching Arabic is something valuable for me. Maybe give me hope, or I feel gain hope. It's reward for me.
Hi, I'm a language learning app.
Can we move on?
This is a dog.
I don't have a dog.
Repeat after me. This person eats bread.
I want to practice English for my job interview.
Incorrect. You haven't reached this lesson yet. Now repeat after me. This person eats bread.
Fine. This person eats bread.
That's better. Moving on.
¿Cansado de aplicaciones de idiomas inflexibles? Usa italki para aprender como tú quieras aprender y estudiar cualquier idioma con nativos.
Meet Peter. He is learning Chinese. He was studying on his own with textbooks, flashcards, and apps, but is still having problems with basic conversation. This is Maria. She loves learning English, but she doesn't have many opportunities to use it. With italki, Peter and Maria are able to get personal online lessons to help them become fluent in a foreign language. You can start learning a language on italki today. Just follow these 3 simple steps. 1. Select the language. English, Spanish, Chinese, French, Japanese. italki has teachers for every language. 2. Select the teacher. With italki, you can choose from thousands of experienced teachers from all over the world. And 3. Schedule a lesson. Online language lessons are the next best thing to living in a foreign country. With italki, you'll have a personal language teacher and real conversations with native speakers. Every day, thousands of people are connecting to international teachers through italki. Find a teacher today and become fluent in a foreign language.
Hi, my name's Tom. I'm from the US, I'm a chemical engineer, and I'm passionate about language learning. I've used italki to learn 8 languages to a conversational level. I grew up in Colorado, where I was exposed to many different cultures, which cultivated my interest in languages. One of the first languages I became conversational in was Norwegian. I decided to book a trip to Norway. To prepare, I found a group class with around 7 people. Not only were they extremely expensive, it was around $40 to $50 per lesson, but progress was also frustratingly slow due to the size of the class. I heard about italki from a positive review from a famous polyglot. I was amazed to discover that I could learn any language I want, one-on-one, and for the fraction of the price as offline classes. I thought, how is this even possible? I immediately signed up with 2 teachers in Norwegian. One teacher, we would have conversation lessons and go through a textbook, and with the other teacher, we would go through worksheets and chat about random things. So essentially, I structured the classes in a way that would suit my own learning style, which never would have happened without italki. Within a year, I was relatively fluent in Norwegian. I was so happy that I could actually go to the country and use the language in a practical setting. And the best part is that I really enjoyed the learning process. I thought, why stop there? I picked up Italian and mixed my interest in Italian cooking with lessons on italki. After learning Italian for a year and going to northern Italy, I was able to easily get around and communicate with people. I then decided to set myself a personal goal of passing an advanced Italian exam, and my teacher on italki helped me to achieve this. I was hooked. I'd found the ultimate formula for learning a language from scratch and staying motivated. I would book a holiday in a new country in 1 year's time so that I could put the language into practice. I did the same with Japanese, French, German, Russian, Czech, and Hungarian, and even explored Chinese, Thai, Serbian, Farsi, and Sicilian. From this process, I made so many valuable friendships and connections that has improved not only my communication, but also my confidence. Whether I'm watching the news in German, reading about Italian politics, speaking to my cats in Norwegian, on the phone to my friends in Bergen, or watching fitness and nutrition videos in Czech, I find a way to get at least some practice of one of the languages every day. I found the best way to stay motivated is to align my interests with my language learning, and in that way it doesn't take over my whole life, which people often believe. I find this way of learning on italki so much fun.
Lingvi es una aplicación móvil que ayuda a practicar idiomas de manera instantánea conectando a usuarios disponibles en todo el mundo. Con Lingvi encontrarás personas nativas dispuestas a ayudarte a practicar el idioma que desees aprender. Los usuarios con tiempo libre se mostrarán disponibles para recibir llamadas y de esta forma ganarán recompensas ayudando a otros usuarios. Así es como conectamos personas de forma colaborativa y gratuita en nuestra aplicación. Únete a nuestra comunidad, haz nuevos amigos y mejora en todos los idiomas que quieras. Descarga Lingvi y practiquemos juntos.
Este es Peter. Está aprendiendo chino. Ha intentado estudiar por su cuenta con libros, tarjetas de vocabulario y aplicaciones móviles, pero sigue teniendo problemas para hablar. Esta es María. Le encanta aprender inglés, pero no tiene oportunidades para ponerlo en práctica. Con italki, Peter y María pueden recibir clases personales online para hablar con fluidez en otro idioma. Tú también puedes aprender un idioma en italki. Empieza hoy en 3 simples pasos. Primero, elige un idioma. Inglés, alemán, chino, francés, japonés. Italki tiene profesores para cualquier idioma. Segundo, escoge un profesor. Con italki puedes escoger entre miles de profesores con experiencia de todo el mundo. Tercero, elige el horario de tu lección. Las clases de idiomas online son el mejor método para aprender con profesores nativos. Con italki tendrás un profesor de idiomas personal y conversaciones reales con hablantes nativos. Cada día miles de personas aprenden con profesores internacionales a través de italki. Encuentra un profesor hoy y domina el idioma de tu lección.
Hi everyone, it's Vicente and I teach Spanish on italki.com. And today we will be talking about 3 grammar rules to follow when you start learning Spanish. The first one is that, as you have already heard, Spanish verbs are always conjugated. That means that they have to match with the subject of the sentence. For example, there are different pronouns in Spanish. Yo, tú, él, ella, usted, nosotros, nosotras, vosotros, vosotras, and ellos, ellas, y usted. All these pronouns have their own conjugations, and it's very common for beginners to mix them up. So remember this. When you start to conjugate the verbs, they have to match. The second rule is very important as well. The Spanish.
Hello, hi everybody, it's Sarah Rose here. How are you? Welcome to today's lesson. Have I got any new students today? Have I got any students coming back? Happy Friday. Oh no, it's Thursday. It's Thursday, but tomorrow is a holiday in lots of countries. Is it a holiday where you are? I think they call it Labor Day, or in England we call it May Day, or in Spain the International Day of the Worker. So congratulations to anybody who is working and has tomorrow off, who has a holiday. My student said in China it's a 5-day holiday for Labor Day. Fantastic. Makes you think that would be nice here too. So my name is Sarah. I am your teacher for this hour. Today's topic is going to be meeting new people and making friends and networking in English. We're going to mainly talk about friends and friendship and how we make friends. So now I work as a teacher on italki, but before I worked as a teacher on italki, I used to live in London. And in London, I worked for a small charity that works with refugees. So people who come to the UK as refugees. And one of the biggest challenges for refugees and for immigrants and for migrants is to make friends in a new country. It's really hard and it can be scary. That's what I want to talk about today. How do you make friends? Why is it scary? And what can we do? So do say hello. Yep, you should be able to see my screen now. Fantastic. I've got your got all your messages here. Brilliant. So say hello. I've got Danielle. Hi. Hello from Italy. Ah, lovely. Where in Italy? Blatzania, hello, nice to meet you. Thank you, or see you again. I think you were in my last class. So hi, we're gonna get started. I'd like to start by if you can introduce yourself. So I have lots of questions today, so please be ready to type your answers and get involved. My first question is, what is your name? Where are you today? So I know if we have people in Italy and Spain or other countries. We had people from Ukraine last week and lots of different places. So where are you? And my question today is, have you stayed in contact with friends during lockdown? And how? Let me add and how. And how? Okay? And how have you stayed in touch? So, for example, my answer. My name is Sarah Rose. I am from Wolverhampton, but I am in Alicante in Spain at the moment. It's very sunny in Spain today, which is good. I have stayed in contact with my friends. Now, I live in Spain, but a lot of my friends live in England because I am from England. So I often need to use WhatsApp and Instagram and Zoom to talk with my friends and family. So during lockdown, I've done the same thing. So how are you? Do you use WhatsApp? Do you prefer WeChat? Do you use social media sites like Instagram or Facebook to make friends? Let me know, how are you keeping in touch with people at the moment? Okay. Who have we got today? Hi, Emma from France. Hi, Emma. Nice to meet you. Raul from Mexico. Oh, Raul. Lovely. Where are you from in Mexico? Because I went to Mexico for a month quite a long time ago, maybe 7 years ago. But it was one of the best holidays of my entire life. I loved it so much. Alexander from the Ukraine again. Cool. Hi, Alexander. Nice to meet you. So we have Emma. Who else have we got? Roberto from Liverpool. Cool. So you are in the UK. This is good. So you can give us some advice about making friends with British people, which is what we're going to talk about as well. Muriel from France. Raul, Mexico City. Okay. Yeah, I went to Mexico City. Now, I think if you live in Mexico, it is easy to make friends, because I thought that people in Mexico were very, very friendly. Everybody was so helpful and friendly. I went all the way around the country and met lots of people. Raul, so do you agree? Do you think it's easy to make friends in Mexico? Easier than maybe in the UK? Who else? Sergio from Spain. Good. Okay. And who else? Camila from Colombia, but living in Croatia. So have you made friends in Croatia? Is it different from Colombia? This is what we're going to talk about a bit, about how sometimes in different countries, the way to make friends is different. And in some countries, maybe it's easy to make friends or easier. And in some countries, it's more difficult. Or in some cities, sometimes it's more difficult. I think London is a difficult city to make friends sometimes. Okay, so cool. Okay. Raul says, yes, you're right. In Mexico, it is easy, but it's easy to make friends all over the world. It's probably true. Emma, I lived in Kazakhstan and it was easy to meet people there. Lovely. I have some students from Kazakhstan and they're very friendly. Edith says it's only easy to make friends in Mexico if you speak Spanish. Good. Okay. So let's get started. To start off, a little bit about me. So obviously, I'm an English teacher. Most of my classes are about job interview preparation or CV writing and cover letters, so helping people apply to jobs. I also do general English classes. So general English class means you want to improve your general ability in English. You want your level to improve. So if you are an intermediate, you want to become upper intermediate or to advanced. This is what we do in general classes. We look at all the skills, speaking, listening, reading, and writing, and we improve all of them. But I also do business English or English for work. So English that you use in your job if you work, if your job involves English. I do that too. And today is kind of a mix because we're going to talk first about friendship, but then about how do you make friends. So keep saying hello. I'm so glad there's some people here, lots of people joining us. Daniel, my name is Daniel. I'm from Argentina, but I live in Cartagena in Spain. And you've stayed in contact with people by Skype. Thank you, Daniel. And do you think that it is easier to make friends in Cartagena or in Argentina? I'm worried I pronounced that wrong. Cartagena, maybe, is more correct. Okay. Our first activity. So first of all, I want to think of all of the different words that we use in English for friend. Just to say as well, I always forget. If you have any questions during the class, you can write a comment on the italki page or the YouTube page. I'm reading both of them, so you can check. You can write in both the pages. And if I talk too quickly and you can't hear me or you don't understand, please write a comment. So sometimes people say that they don't know a word or they don't understand the pronunciation. They want me to repeat something. It's all good. Tell me and I will repeat it or explain. We have some people here talking about how they keep in contact with people. So Danielle has said, I use Skype and Microsoft Teams for my university class. Oh, I haven't used Microsoft Teams, but my sister uses it at her job. Oh, and there's Erica from Ecuador. Hello. Keeps in contact by WhatsApp. Yeah, I love WhatsApp. I don't know why. I think it's because I really like emojis. And there are so many good emojis and stickers in WhatsApp. But I do love them. There you go. Okay, what is a synonym? Somebody said, who said, what is a synonym? Fletzania, what is a synonym? Okay. A synonym is a word, a different word that means the same thing. So it means the same as friend, but it is another word, a different word. Did you know in English, we have a lot of synonyms, but do you know why? Why do we have so many synonyms for every word? Every word seems to have at least two different words to mean the same thing, doesn't it? Well, one of the reasons is because of the history of the United Kingdom, the history of Britain. We have in our history both French or Norman people and German-speaking people. So we have a population in the past, a long time ago, in the past, we had a population who spoke a kind of German and a population who spoke a kind of French. And so we often have a French kind of maybe Latin-y word for some things, and then we have a kind of German word as well. Friend, if you speak German, is very similar to the German word for friend. So you can see the German influence in the word friend, okay? That's a fun fact for you. The other part of that fact, if you are interested, is that historically, the French-speaking people were richer than the German-speaking people. So the French-speaking people were the politicians, the nobles, the royalty, and the German-speaking people were poorer. So often the French or Latin word is a more elegant and more sophisticated version than the German word. And this is especially true for animals and meat. The word swine from German is for the animal, and the word pork from French is for the meat, because the richer people ate the meat and the poorer people had the animals. So that's a fun fact for you. I hope you understood that. Oh, anyway, okay. So let's have a look. Different synonyms for friend. What have we got? Roberto, excellent. Mate, lad, pal. Roberto, I can tell. Roberto, I know that you are in Liverpool because you said lad. That is a very northern word for friend. Emma said formal versus informal. Correct. Excellent. Marina, companion. Yes, correct, though that we need to spell that slightly differently. I will show you how to spell that in a second. Soulmate, Raoul, that's lovely, a soulmate. Oh, for your best friend. Often we use soulmate for our romantic partner, but you can also use it for your best friend. Marina corrected companion. Good. Alexander says amigo. It's a Spanish word, but we do sometimes use it in slang in English. What's up, amigo? We sometimes say. Okay. Some people okay. Cool. All right, let's have a look. So let me show you some of my words if you will look at some interesting different vocabulary. We have, Danielle says a slang word, pal or buddy. Yeah, and because we're talking about friends, we often use a slang word because we're being friendly and informal with our friends. So I put pal and buddy as well, mate. As well as mates, I put here, we often like to say how we know somebody when we say friends. So we might say they are a classmate, a schoolmate, a roommate, or a workmate. What type of words are these? Where we put two nouns together to make a new one. Do you know? What type of word? A mate from class is our classmate. And we joined them together. We love that in English. We don't love it as much as they do in German, though. They do it a lot more in German. But we do it in English too. Okay, we have pal. I tried to think of some formal words. They don't really mean friend, but maybe you use them at work. So a contact is a person you know, maybe professionally. I have a contact who works, I don't know. I have a contact who works for HSBC Bank. Yeah, I have a contact at HSBC Bank. It means I know somebody there. An acquaintance is less than a friend. Sometimes we say, oh, he's not really a friend. He's more of an acquaintance. We don't know him that well, or her. So it's somebody we've met a few times. Maybe they will become a friend, but not yet. And somebody said best friend. Yeah, sometimes we add a word to say our best friend, our oldest friend. I put our Facebook friend, maybe if you have your friends on Facebook. Somebody's put it's a composite noun. Lovely. Or perhaps a compound noun. Thank you, Susanna. Yes, a Facebook friend, oldest. I have a question from Emma. A contact is not necessarily a friend, right? Says Emma. Thank you for that question. Yeah, you are right. It's not really a friend. It's somebody who you know. They might be a friend, but it's not specific. Somebody you know, like an acquaintance. You know them, but you're not necessarily friends. Because when you are friends with somebody, it's a little bit more than knowing someone, isn't it? We know a lot of people, but do you consider, or do you think everyone you know is a friend? Or do you have very few friends but know a lot of people? I don't know. It's different for some people. Cool. Okay. I wanted to check this one. Oldest friend. Here's a question for you. Does this mean a friend? I don't know how to explain the difference. Your friend who is the oldest, as in they are old, okay, as in they are ancient. Does this mean a friend who is very old, older in age than all your other friends? Does it mean that? Or does it mean a friend you have known longer than any other friend? What is the difference? Emma says, a friend you have known for ages. Excellent. Lovely sentence. Fletsania, my oldest friend. Oh, is it okay? We've got our oldest friends here. Camilla. We have a best friend. Oh, is this a Colombian word? Lovely. Thank you for sharing, Camilla. A word for your best friend. And she says perhaps viejo amigo is the translation of oldest friend. Yeah, oldest friend doesn't mean somebody who is old. It means the person you have known longer than any other friend. So we can say an old friend. Oh, she's an old friend. I know her. I knew her when I was a child. We used to play together. Now we are still friends, an old friend. So that's quite a nice term as well when we want to talk about somebody we've known for a very long time. Note we say have known here. You have known because we are referring to somebody we met in the past, but we still know now. So that's why we say in the present perfect. Okay. Edith. Hi, Edith. Hello from France. She says we say the same in French. Cool. Okay, so it's pretty similar. So I think it's the same in French and Spanish and English. Good. Okay. Let's have a look. I wanted to talk about one of these types of friends. So I chose a best friend. I want you to tell me who is your best friend. If you want to tell me their name, you can, but how did you meet them? And I will tell you how I met my best friend as well, okay? So who is your best friend and how did you meet them? My best friend is called Melita and I met her at high school. So in England, we start high school when we are 11 years old, yeah? So when I was 11, I first met Melita and I thought she was so cool. She was so cool because she had really cool taste in music and she was very funny. So this is why we became friends. I wanted to be friends with her because I thought she was really funny. I don't know why she wanted to be friends with me, but she was, which was good. And also because she was really good at drawing and I thought that was so cool. So that's why we became friends and we are still friends now, which is nice, isn't it? It's lovely to have old friends, I think. And we were friends for the whole of high school up until now. High school is a long time ago for me. So where did you meet your best friend? And is your best friend an old friend or a new friend? Let's see, some people have said, Marina, hi. Marina, I met my best friend learning German. Cool. Languages bring people together. So you made a good friend while you were learning German. I made a really good friend when I was learning Spanish at university as well. Okay, Fledsania says, Svetlana is my best friend now, and before it was Valentina, and I met her at a dance room. That's very cool. Oh, Edith has messaged. Edith, I love this. Edith says, I met my best friend when I was 9, and now I am 63, and you're still friends. Wow, that must be incredible, because all of the changes of life that you've been through together, that's so cool. And you met her at school. Sergio says, I met my best friend at university. Good. Okay. What are people saying on YouTube? In Italian, we say a friend going back a long way or a long-standing friend. Yeah. We can kind of say that in English too, a long-standing friendship, we might say, a long-standing friendship. So is your best friend an old friend or a new friend? I think a lot of people, a couple of people have mentioned, Emma, I met my best friend during holidays. She lived near the place where I was staying with my parents. That was 30 years ago. Brilliant. Did you get to go back for another holiday? I think that sounds amazing, to meet somebody on holiday, because then you have somebody to visit for more holidays. Or was it a holiday near your house? Yeah, you got to go back. That's great. That's very fortunate. Okay. A lot of people are kind of saying that you meet friends doing something similar to something that you do. So if you're at dance school or you're learning German, this is a good place to meet new people. And I think that's true when you are in a new country and you are trying to make friends with people who live locally, with people who aren't from the same country as you, is to find a friend through your hobbies. Okay. Cool. Let's have a look. So I want to have a look at what you think is a good quality for a friend to have. So here is a little bit of, it's like a vocabulary exercise. If you want to answer, you can put the letter and the number in the chat. See if you can match the words with the sentences. I'm going to read through them so you can hear them spoken, and then we will do the answers. In the meantime, Erica on YouTube. My best friend is Myra. I met my best friend at university. She helped me a lot on my thesis project. Ooh, that's a good friend to be helpful. Cool. Okay. So let's have a look at this. I'm just going to drink a water. Because it's hard. You get a dry throat from talking for a long time. I wish normally in class, I get the students to talk more. But in this class, I have to talk. You have to listen to me, unfortunately for you. But nevertheless, I hope you find it helpful. Cool. Okay. So I'm going to read through the vocabulary words first. So we have, they're all, oh no, they're not all verbs. Ignore me. Number 1, lies, shares, kind, jokes, problems, angry, fines. Okay, can you pronounce all those words? These are the options. Okay, a good friend always laughs at your. A good friend never what to you. A good friend what things with you. A good friend listens to your. A good friend, there's one missing here. Let's put that in for you. Always, this should be here. Something time to be with you. A good friend doesn't get what with you. A good friend is always what to you. So let me fill in the gaps. Okay, so if you want to put your answers in, put the letter with your answer. So write A and then whatever you think it is. A1, A2, A3, or A angry, A lies. Let's have a look. Okay, great. Thank you. Putting in the numbers. Brilliant. Okay, what have people said for A? A4. Is it correct? A4, A4. Someone said jokes. Yeah. A good friend always laughs at your jokes. Good. Do they? Do you agree? Number B. A good friend never. We've got B2 or B1? B1. Edith's put B1. Daniel's put B2. Emma's got B2. Could you enlarge your screen a bit, says Emma. Let's have a go. See if we can zoom in. This is the problem. It's a bit too big. Well, let me try. Maybe if I go and make the text a bit bigger. I know. I'm sorry that the screen is a bit small today, and it's because I had a unexpected. I didn't think we would I'm using a different computer than I expected. But I'm improvising, so I hope it's okay. Good. Is that better? A bit bigger? I hope you can see it. Sorry if it's a bit small. Hopefully that's better. Okay. Emma said B1, I did a mistake. Okay, good correction. All right, let's have a look. We've got B lies, says Danielle on YouTube. A good friend never lies to you. Yeah. So do we know what lies means? It's to not tell the truth. Okay. Number C, what have we got? C2. Yeah, C2, C2, C2. Okay, you're correct. A good friend shares things with you. So what is to share? It's when you don't keep everything to yourself, but you share it with somebody else. We have a nice phrase in English, which you might know. Sharing is caring. Do you know that phrase? We say sharing is caring. If you share with somebody, you care about them. That's quite a nice phrase, I think. A good friend listens to your problems. Yes, and helps you solve them, hopefully. Or maybe just listens and doesn't try to solve your problems. A good friend listens to your problems. Yeah, we've got Alexander got that right. Edith got that right. Yep, Danielle's got it correct. And Camilla, excellent. Another common phrase we say in English. Do you know this one? A problem shared is a problem halved. What does that mean? A problem shared is a problem halved. Do you know that phrase? It's quite a good one. It's a very popular one. Put that in green. A problem shared, when we share a problem, it becomes half as difficult, half as complicated. So that's a very common phrase we say. Come on, tell me why you are upset. Tell me why you are worried. A problem shared is a problem halved. Okay. E, a good friend. We've got Sydney Oliveira. Fines. Good. E7. Erica, E7. Eduardo says D1, just joking. A good friend listens to your lies. Yeah, it's possible. It is a possible answer, but it's not it's not true, is it? A good friend always finds time to be with you. Correct. Finds. So we say find time when maybe you are very busy, you don't have a lot of time, but you try hard and you find it. Can you find time for your friends? Let's go further down. A good friend doesn't get angry with you, and a good friend is always kind to you. Okay. So very good. I think almost everybody got them all correct. Very good. Have we got any questions? Okay, anybody here? Fletzania says FF. Sometimes they are angry at me. Yeah, okay. So this is my question. Do you think this is true? Is it true? Are there any you don't agree with? Or is there anything missing? I think Fletzania has a good point. A good friend doesn't get angry with you. Well, you think your friends shouldn't get angry for no reason. If you don't do anything bad, they shouldn't get angry. But sometimes we feel angry at our friends because sometimes our friends disappoint us or upset us. And then we might tell them, I'm really upset. I'm really sad that you did this to me. I think that's a normal part of friendship, and it's an important part of friendship because it helps you develop your relationship and be honest. So what do you think? Do you think all of these are true, or is there anything missing? Emma's added another one. A friend tries to support you. Yeah, I think that's really nice. So what do you think makes a good friend? Let's see. A friend tries to... Ooh, shouting. A friend tries to support you. Thank you, Emma. I agree. And a good friend is supportive, aren't they? They try to support you. Any other things that we've missed on our list so far? Any other ideas? What's a good friend mean? A good friend tries to support you. let me know if you have any other ideas of what a friend does, apart from that are on these lists, shares with you, and a good listener. Yeah, I think that's a very nice phrase. A friend is well, maybe friends should be good listeners. Yeah, and then a friend does not judge you. Does not judge you. Good. What does judge mean? That's a lovely word. Well, it's not lovely. When you judge somebody, you make a decision about somebody, about their value, maybe their ethics or their morals. You think, I make a judgment about you. I decide if I think you are good or bad because of something you do or because of something that you say. So sometimes it's important a good friend doesn't judge you. Eduardo, a friend never betrays you. Good. So Eduardo, for you, it's important to be loyal. Yeah, they are loyal friends. If you're watching on YouTube, by the way, make sure you don't click top comments, but you click like live comments or most recent comments so that you can see the comments. A friend who always listens and hears you. Nice, Alexander. So we differentiate between to listen and to hear. You're listening, but are you really hearing what they are saying to you? All of these things. Good. Okay. Any others? So we've got another proverb, which is good. We're going to come on to some proverbs soon, actually. I like proverbs. I think they're a good way to see how language works, a proverb. And Danielle has sent in the English proverb. A friend in need is a friend indeed. This proverb I always thought was a little bit strange because usually when we think about friends, we think of what they do for us. Yeah. A friend listens to me. A friend helps me. A friend supports me. But this proverb means who is a friend? A friend is somebody you help. You help a friend. You listen to a friend and you support a friend. So that's quite a nice phrase. And a lovely one from Erica as well. I'm just going to copy that straight from your comment. It doesn't need any correction at all. Not that the others did, but Erica said, a friend is like a mirror. Maybe we meant to say most of the time. Oh, sorry, most of the time, they know us better than ourselves, better than we know ourselves. Good. Okay. Thank you for that. So I said we were going to look at some proverbs. Here are some for us to look at now. I want you to look at, I'm going to make these bigger because I know the screen's a bit small. So let's read these. Tell me if they're still too small for you. And I want you to tell me which one you agree with the most. Which of these quotes are the most correct in your opinion? I want you to pick one. You have to be very decisive, okay? Just pick one. All right, so A. A real friend is one who walks in when the rest of the world walks out. Is that your favorite one? B. Friendship between peoples, countries, cultures, and individuals can inspire peace efforts and build bridges between communities. Who said that? I'm going to tell you who said that quote. Maybe you know already. Okay, who said that? C. True friendship comes when the silence between two people is comfortable. Comfortable silence. D. A true friend never gets in your way unless you happen to be going down. Okay, so here's some quotes about friendships and what do you think about them? Okay, let's just see if there's any questions. Okay. A real friend is one who walks in when the rest of the world walks out. So this is a metaphor when the world walks out. It's a metaphor for when we feel isolated or deserted. So if nobody will help you or nobody wants to be there with you except one person, that person is your real friend. The B, friendship between people, countries, cultures, and individuals can inspire peace efforts and build bridges between communities. So this is talking bigger than your classmate, isn't it? It's talking about friendship between peoples. Have you seen that word with an S before? We usually think people is not accountable. We can't say a plural of people. But we can here. It's an unusual use of the word peoples. Countries, cultures, and individuals. When we say peoples like that, we mean the people perhaps of Europe, the people of Asia, different peoples. Maybe we mean people of different ethnicities or people from different geographical areas, peoples. This is a quote from the UN, I think, on International Friendship Day. So to try and encourage friendship between different countries and different communities, because they believe that that leads to peace. All right, so that's where that one's from. Okay, number C, true friendship comes when the silence between two people is comfortable. I like this quote because I know that some people love to talk all the time, but I have some people in my life who are the opposite. They are introverts and they like to be quiet and calm. And some people find it very uncomfortable to sit quietly with their friends or to sit quietly with their family. But actually, when you are comfortable with somebody, you can sit in silence and feel very happy. So do you have comfortable silence with any of your friends? These days, we usually don't sit in silence, do we? We usually sit on our phones. But it's a bit different when you're on your phone and you're silent. D, a true friend never gets in your way unless you happen to be going down. So what does this mean? To get in somebody's way. So to get in somebody's way usually means to stop somebody from succeeding, to stop somebody from having success. If you get in their way, then you stop them. But here it says, unless you're going down. So unless you're failing, unless you're having an emergency or you're in danger, you're going down, then a friend gets in your way, stops you. Okay, what have people said? Erica's favorite one is A. Sydney said B. Okay, so B, the UN one. Raul also likes B. So we like the idea of friendship between countries. Good, okay. Who else have we got? Shun says C is like a couple. I think you're right. It's kind of like a relationship. I mean, a romantic relationship, maybe a marriage or a boyfriend and girlfriend. Marina likes all of them A, B, C, D. She can't choose. Good. Okay, I'm glad you like them. But Alexander says also B is best. B. Okay, people like B. Lovely. I'm quite surprised. I didn't think that people would prefer B because B is more like global. It's not as personal. So it's nice to see that. Yeah, Danielle says, which I think we all agree when we are thinking about friendship, let's hope to see all the people we know again, maybe giving them a hug when the pandemic is over. Definitely. When we think about our friends, we just think we want to see them and hug them when this is finished. Okay. So we've talked a little bit about friendship. Now I want to talk about making friends. So when we make friends, we find out more about somebody when we make new friends. So I thought to start with, I would give you the chance to learn more about me, or maybe to guess a bit more about me. Maybe you know this game. It's 2 truths and a lie. And you need to guess which 2 sentences are true about me and which one is a lie. Okay? And I don't think I've mentioned this in any classes yet. So this should be difficult for everybody. So the three sentences are: can you find the lie? Can you find the one that isn't true? I can play the drum kit. This is the drum kit. Make that a bit bigger. Oh, so you can see it. This is the drum kit. Yeah, it's a musical instrument. I used to, so I don't now, but in the past, I used to live in Cuba, the country. And number 3, as a teenager, I played semi-professional tennis. Okay, can you guess which one is a lie? If you want, you can ask me a question about one of them if you want to get some more information about it. Then have a go. Somebody's put in another quote while you read this. Yes, Fletsania, there is one lie and you must find the lie. Okay. Emma says, learning a foreign language is a bridge to friendship. Emma, I love it. A Kazakh saying. That's great. Don't apologize for the translation. It's a good translation. It's a really nice saying. Well, I believe that because we are learning new languages, and that helps create friendships between countries. Okay, so someone's asked a question, Camilla. What was the best when you lived in Cuba? Good question. The best thing in Cuba was the beach. The beaches are very beautiful. And I really liked outside of the cities, so the countryside of Cuba. I lived in Havana, and it was very busy. Beautiful, but busy. But outside of Havana, it's a very different country, and that was the best bit when I used to leave Havana and go to the countryside. Okay, Danielle says, I suppose the lie is B because traveling around the world means spending money. Yeah, exactly, and it's difficult. I have another question. Eduardo, how good is your Spanish? Ooh. Well, my Spanish is advanced. I have better, like many of my students, my reading and writing is much better than my spoken Spanish. And I am trying to learn conversational Spanish because I've only ever studied formal Spanish. But I say my Spanish is advanced. Camilla asks, when you started, that should be, when did you start playing the drums? We always say ing after start, to start doing something. So when did you start playing the drums? I started playing the drums when I was 11, the same time I met my best friend when I started high school. Shan says, I think A is a lie because girls don't play the drum kit. Okay. Emma says B is wrong. Shan, we are guessing. Okay, I think A is a lie, says Alexander. And Marina says B is the lie. Why is the professor lying? It's a game. Don't worry, it's just a game. What is the currency of Cuba? Good question. They have moneda nacional, and then they have pesos, isn't it? There's two currencies, and there's like the cook. It's cook, the one that is the same as the dollar, cook, and then the local currency, which I think is moneda nacional, and it was very difficult to find. So there are two types of currency in Cuba. Erica, do you like sports? Yeah, I love sports, especially tennis. Okay, I got the correct answer there. Okay, guitar, peso, and cook. Edith, thank you. I got it right. Yeah, exactly. So some people I think here know a bit about Cuba as well. They have been. Okay, I'll tell you, this game could go on for so long. All right, the lie is that I used to play tennis. Okay, it's such a big lie. I am so bad at tennis. So this is not true. I can't play tennis because I'm so bad. So the truth is I can play the drum kit. I learned it at school, and I am a girl. So girls can play the drums. And I used to live in Cuba, but only for 6 months. I lived there as part of my undergraduate degree. I did a semester at the University of Havana. Cool. Okay. Oh, sorry. Camilla's still asking questions. I don't play tennis currently. I actually have a dream. I dream that one day I will be able to play tennis because it's such a fast and powerful sport. I think it's amazing. I like to watch tennis, but I'm really, really bad. Okay. So it was C that was wrong. Good. All right. Thanks for participating in the game. So now you know a bit more about me. When we meet new people, we like to get to know them. So if you have a get to know you question, you can ask it and I'll have a look in the comments, and then I will try to answer some as they come through. Who is your favorite tennis player? Oh, very political. I think my favorite tennis player is Serena Williams because she's incredible. Yeah, many girls do play tennis. They do, but many girls also, Shun says, many girls play tennis. They do. It's a popular sport for women. And that's why I like Serena Williams. Okay. So to kind of move on, I wanted to talk a bit about making friends. And here I have some sentences about making friends in the UK. I'm going to make them a bit bigger. I think some, was it Emma or Edith said that this is quite small, quite difficult to read. It's got this blue bit at the bottom, but I think it'll be all right. Hopefully that's a bit better for you. You can read it a bit better. Sorry about the background. Oh, I can fill it. Idiot. There you go. Perfect. Okay. So these are some facts about the UK. Yeah. And I think they are true. But what I want you to do as we read through is think, is that true in my country? Is that true where you are from? Or do you think that it's different in your country or the country you live in or the country you grew up in? Do you think it's different or do you think it's the same? Okay. So they're just 6 facts about making friends in Britain. So number 1, A. And if they are the same or different, maybe write A is the same in Spain, but E is different or something. So we can compare a little bit. So the UK is very diverse. This means we have different types of people. Most people have friends of different ethnicities or from different countries. So it's very common in the UK to have lots of people who live in the UK are different ethnicities and from different countries. And it's very common to have friends from different places. Is that true where you live or where you are from? Or do you agree with it? I know some of you live in the UK. Do you agree? B. British people are very punctual. In Britain, people make a great effort to arrive on time. It is considered impolite to be even a few minutes late. So if you are going to meet somebody at 1, you should be there at 12:55. This is polite in Britain. It's very rude to be 5 minutes late. Okay, so this is true, but I am a bad British person because I am not that punctual. And I can tell you, my friends hate it. So my friends who are British hate the fact I am often late. The stereotype is that in, say, for example, in Spain, people are less punctual and more late, but I don't think that's actually true. I think people in Spain, in Alicante, are very punctual. So I think that is a false stereotype about Alicante. But what do you think? Is this true? Number C, the British like a certain amount of personal space. Do not stand too close to another person or put your arm around someone's shoulder. Well, I mean, this is true all over the world at the moment. But it is true in Britain, people like personal space. That means how much space there is between you and another person. How much space between you both is your personal space. Okay. British people really like privacy. Don't ask personal questions about family background, profession, marital status, political preference, or money issues. So all of those questions are maybe a little bit rude. In one of my previous classes, we spoke about small talk and what we can talk about in small talk when we meet new people. And usually these topics we don't ask. So you might ask about somebody's family, but actually in Britain, people will be surprised if you say, where are you from? Who is your father? You know, what's your family background? People might think that's a very personal question. Why are you asking me that? British people do not usually invite people they don't know to their houses. So is that common that and by this I mean, in Britain, usually you know somebody for a long time, I mean months, before you invite them to your house. Maybe you meet them for a drink, go for lunch, go for coffee, but not for months do you go to their house. Yeah, you don't invite people into your home. It's a funny cultural reference. Somebody said, when invited to someone's home, you should bring a small gift for the host or hostess. Give flowers, chocolates, wine, champagne, or books. Okay, so are these the same in countries you know or where you live? Let's have a look. Let's see. Ooh, we have some conversations going on the chat, I think. Okay. Emma says, I think I am British because I like punctuality. Good. Okay. I like punctuality, so you would like that. Let's have a look. What else have we got? Erica says, in Ecuador, it isn't the same. If the meeting is at 3 o'clock, we arrive at 3:30. Okay, so you think it's slightly different in Ecuador about punctuality. So maybe if you move to England, you might be surprised when everybody is early for everything. Danielle says, I think these are the standard rules in every country, even in Italy. But in the south of Italy, we tend to be more sociable and extroverted. Yeah, and I think probably more extroverted than most British cities in the south of Italy. But they are standard rules. Yeah, I think you're right. You know, there are standards, but sometimes there are differences. So we've got in Egypt, it's different, maybe. Erica, in Egypt, people also aren't very punctual, or being punctual isn't as important. Somebody's given me another rule. If people come to my house, they must take off their shoes. Yes, this is interesting. I don't know where you are from, Shan, but I know that it's very important in Japan, for example, and in China, it's very common for the host to give slippers to guests so that the guests can wear slippers in the house instead of shoes. So that is common. Sometimes in Britain, people prefer you to not wear shoes in the house, but it's not a general rule. And what have we else? Danielle says F is true. Yeah, bring a small gift. I think that is true. I like to do that, especially if it's somebody you don't know very well. You take some wine, or you take maybe if you visit the UK, you could take something from your home country. Yeah, Emma says in Russia and Kazakhstan as well, you take off your shoes. Marina says in Russia, take off your shoes. Cool. Okay. So that's a very important rule in a lot of countries. You must take your shoes off indoors. In the UK, it is not as important. All right, we are coming up to the end of the lesson. So what I wanted to do was show you some examples of conversation starters in English. Let's have a look. I just see if there's any other comments. F, we don't do it in... Danielle says F, we don't do that in Italy. We don't take a gift when we go to somebody's house. Interesting. Very relaxing. You can just go to somebody's house without having to think, I need to find some wine or some chocolates to give them. Yeah, it's a possibility, you know. In England, it's not something you have to do, but it is polite and it's always very nice. I say that is a top tip. So do remember, if you have any get to know you questions, put them in and I will try to answer them. I got one from Camilla. Can you give us a tip? So Camilla's written, can you give us a tip or advice to improve English, like a good tip to advance with the language? Okay. Well, there's so many things that you can do. I think it really depends. I mean, it's difficult to say, but it really does depend on what you use your English for. So my advice is different to if you use English at work, to if you use English generally in your general life or for travel or for socializing. But the best rule, I think, is to try to increase how much English you are seeing and listening to every day. Every day you need to be listening to, reading, or engaging with English. So how can you do that? Yes, you can watch TV shows in English. You can listen to the radio or podcasts or songs in English. You should read the news in English. But try to think of other ways as well. Is your phone settings in English? Because that is going to help. Are your computer settings in English? Change your phone so that it's all in English. Every app on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, it can be in English. That will help you. If you use social media, follow English accounts, English Twitter accounts, English Instagram accounts, YouTube accounts, so that you are seeing English a lot and then you are reading it. And if you use social media, why don't you start writing comments in English and meeting other people that way? So that's my advice. Try to increase how much you use English every day. There's also some very good apps that you can use to improve your vocabulary. A good example, it's not an app, it's a website, is Free Rice. If you Google Free Rice, then you have a good vocabulary game. Okay, Erica asks, I heard that British people are straight out. Is that true? I mean, when you have to talk about a specific topic, Ecuadorian people start asking something else, and then the real question, yeah, English people are the same. They're not very indirect. They are indirect, not direct. Okay, so let's finish up here. Here's some conversation starters for you. I'll make those bigger again. These are comments that you might use when you're trying to make friends with somebody. Hi, it's nice to meet you. Hi, I've recently moved to this neighborhood. Whereabouts do you live? So what are you doing this weekend? What are you up to this weekend? How long have you been coming to this class, lived here or worked here? What do you do in your free time? These are questions you can use if you're trying to make friends, and my best advice is to make friends in places where you already have hobbies, because you meet people who share your interests, and then you can have more interesting conversations with them. Okay, I think we're pretty much at the end of the class now. So thank you so much for joining me. They've extended the live stream to next week. But if you want private classes, you can scroll down and click on the names of the teachers in the timetable and book a class or a trial class. It would be lovely to meet you. But thank you so much for your participation today and hope to see you soon. Bye.